Hello, 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 hello. It is Monday. Another Monday, of course. And maybe you can see it like a little red. Don't say anything about it, okay? Yeah. Today's Monday and another stream, of course. I'm a little bit late, I'm sorry, but there was something I had to get done. But now we're here. And it's time to do a very interesting, in my opinion, topic. You can see all the 3 topics that we're going to cover today. Of course, the first one would be the 30-minute quick sketch. Then afterwards we have the in-depth face sculpting. We're going to dive deep into the face, how it's structured, and how you can, with that knowledge, sculpt your faces a little bit easier, I guess, or with more, more deliberate. And then the last topic that we're going to cover today is a short topic, which will be a super easy skin shader. We talked about it before, but I wanted to do it again, just to kind of go over it again, kind of explain it maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit quicker. We're gonna create a super simple skin shader that I also used in my last 2 finished realistic character pieces, I guess, the orc and then the other one, Dream's face, that we've done. I've used the skin shader in there. And it's pretty simple. We don't need any UVs, anything like that. It is procedural and it's pretty simple. So we're going to go into that afterwards. If you only want to see one of these topics, maybe the quick sketch, maybe the in-depth face sculpting, there should be timestamps in the description so that you can jump right into what you want to look, what you want to see. So yeah, let's get into the first topic, which would be the 30-minute quick sketch. Let's go into Blender. There you go. Okay, so I want to start right off just because we, I've been late, half an hour later than usual. So I wanted to have get this done a little bit quicker, or as quick as possible, I guess. Usually it always ends up at like an hour, the hour mark. First hour would be, intro plus the quick sketch, but maybe we can be a little bit faster today. So today what we're going to sculpt for this quick sketch would be a, what is it called? I can't remember. Pangolin? I think that's what it's called. Welcome back, MK. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Yeah, we're going to sculpt a pangolin for this quick sketch. Then we're going to go into today's first topic. So yeah, of course, as always, I probably just going to sculpt the head, maybe the shoulders as well. But I think if you only sculpt the shoulders, it looks kind of weird. So we're probably going to stick to the head, although the head is pretty simple. So yeah, let's see how we can get through this. Yeah, let me hit that and then everything's ready to begin. Where's my reference? There it is. And my timer. There it is. Okay. 30-minute quick sketch in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So, as always, starting with the base shapes. Yeah. My weekend was pretty chill. We went to a lake close to where I live. And me and my friends, and we, had a nice weekend, or at least Sunday it was. And then on Sunday I just edited a video that came out today, half an hour ago. Yeah, usual weekend, I guess. Usually I have like 1 or 2, yeah, basically just one day of, either half a day maybe of doing something with my friend or friends, and then the other first two Friday usually I keep pretty free for whatever I want to do. I don't really want to make plans for at least one day of the week so that I can just do whatever I want, and then the other days are pretty planned out, I guess. And it was pretty good, pretty chill. Was pretty, the only problem is because the weather was like, it was still warm. It was like 24 degrees or so, and the sun was pretty, the sky was pretty clear. The problem was that we had some clouds, which kind of course, you know, gives you some shade. But what also it does, these clouds, is of course it tricks you into thinking that you actually don't get hit by sunlight. But it is actually it's actually not like that. You know, you might feel colder, or you might feel the cold that comes from this small shade, but there's still, you know, UV rays coming through the clouds, and you don't really realize that you're still getting hit by the sun, which is dangerous if you don't, you know, use sunscreen. At first we thought like, oh well, we don't need sunscreen, it's pretty cold here, but then, you know, just to be safe, we just put it on, and it was pretty, you know, we still, even though we put on sunscreen, we still had, all of us had a little bit of a sunburn. Not too bad, but you know, a little bit. I don't know why, but I always get some on my foot. Yeah, that's been there since Sunday. It's not too bad. I remember having it like maybe when I graduated from high school. We went on like a vacation, I guess, together as a, I guess, you know, class. And I remember not putting on sunscreen, or forgetting to put on sunscreen on my feet and also on my back. So then after the first day of going to the beach, it was basically like as if I had like a huge red circle or whatever, or like, yeah, a circle basically on my back, which wasn't really enjoyable. And then I also had like, I don't know why, but every time I have like a sunburn on my foot, it gets like swollen a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. But then, of course, or it depends on how badly it's burned. And then, of course, that day, the first day, I forgot to put on sunscreen at all on my feet, and it was like super sunny. So I got like super bad sunburn on my feet, which, you know, I realized after having, you know, being out for like hours. And yeah, the next days weren't as great, I guess. But yeah, first day was the worst, because, you know, it was this, I guess, this island, sort of island. It was still connected to the mainland, but it was sort of like half an island, I guess, that was booked for this, I guess, you know, this trip, this vacation. So only people that booked the same trip were there. And there were these, you know, these parties every night. And I didn't want to just, you know, because of my my sunburn, my swollen feet, I didn't just want to go and sit there in my room and just do nothing. So I wanted to go there and put on some shoes without socks, made them as wide as possible, so I have some free room in there. I don't put on pressure on the swollen feet. And you know, I tried to walk around, but it was so bad that I quickly decided to you know, to just rest, I guess, with my feet in cold water. It was pretty bad. You know, they were swollen, I think, like for, I don't know, like 4 days or so. It was pretty bad. They're still swollen now from Sunday, but they're not, you know, they're not that bad, like compared to back then. And also, it's yeah, they're just not bad, not that bad. So it's okay. It felt like sometimes I feel like a small tingling. I usually only feel it when I touch it. So it's like you know, reacting to touch, having some irritation then, but otherwise it's pretty chill. Nothing crazy, nothing you can't bear. Maybe my friends got it worse. Because I'm you know, I never want to have, okay, I mean, probably nobody wants to have sunburn, but me especially. I think I had like a sun allergy for some time, or had like this itchy feeling in my neck, and I think it got even like red, like I had some irritation there when I was in the sun for too long. So I got these pills, or not pills, like vitamins that I could take. And yeah, so I always was kind of like wary whether or not I could go, or I wanted to go into the sun for long. So that's also why I have like, every time I go into like, you know, to the beach or whatever, I have like the strongest sunscreen that you know, that you could get, like 50 or whatever that the factor is, just to make sure that I don't get sunburned. my skin is pretty, you know, light as well, so it's pretty important to have strong sunscreen, because your skin is especially, you know, affected by the sunlight if it's not out, or if it's not, you know, used to so much sunlight. So I always use the highest degree of sunscreen, which works quite well, you know, compared to the skin that I actually put on sunscreen back then in the I guess vacation, where I burnt my feet. The rest of my back was still pretty good. No burnt there, only where I didn't put any sunscreen. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I could maybe put in shoulders, or, you know, the arms. Let's see, we have 21 minutes. Yeah, we definitely can put this, you know, create some more. One thing that I want to do first, though, is I want to give him some eyelids. Him, her, it. Let's say it. There you go. Small eyelids. So that he actually, she, they, whatever. It can blink. There you go. It's weird. Some animals have actually like round eyes, and some have these more human-like eyes, like this. It's kind of weird sometimes, especially for birds. They have more round eyes. I wonder why that is. If there's like a specific advantage to that. Of course, pangolins have these the shell. Or these, I don't even know what you call it, scales on their back that kind of protect them, I guess. That's what we're gonna have to keep in mind when sculpting him. Also, I want to connect his head to the neck a little bit more. There you go. Connecting everything a little bit more. I also looked into sculpting add-ons, and I found quite a few interesting ones. So maybe we'll, you know, do a stream just going over them after I've tested them a little bit. Just, you know, looking at how well they performed, if they're actually useful. Usually I don't really like just adding more and more add-ons to my you know, Blender file, just because it can get quite crowded, and if you don't really use them, it can just, you know, be irritating to go through all the new interfaces that we just added just to kind of get to the one that you actually want to use. So yeah, we have 90 minutes left. Let's see if we can add some more here. I'm gonna make this longer to add some shoulders as well. There you go. Okay. Invert and grab the snake hook. I'm dragging. Takes a little bit because of all the geometry. There you go. Okay. So now I'm gonna grab my mask and pull out some arms. The arms are pretty weird. They're pretty close to the body, so it's kind of hard to really, I guess, really gauge where they're coming from. We could probably say from here, they can start from here. So I'm gonna put the the first part of the arm, I guess the upper arm, a little bit higher, or, you know, close to the body, so we don't have to use the mask tool to, you know, pull out more geometry. We're just gonna sculpt it in, and then the rest we're gonna actually pull out. So that's the first part right here. The nice little shoulders. Pull this pangolin. There you go. Okay. You make these shoulders a little bit wider. Give him some elbows right here. Nice sharp elbows. There you go. I need some more geometry on this side. Okay. And then we can probably go a little bit further to the front as well. There you go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some volume here so that I can pull out. There you go. Perfect. I'm going to grab my mask. Create a nice mask for the hands. Maybe even the arms. Extend the arms a little bit. Grab the snake hook and pull them out. Oh, why is it so weak? There you go. Oh, no. Okay. We have this weird claw shape, which means we have to pull the fingers a little bit higher and then also down again, like this. Yeah, perfect. Pull it down, always keeping in mind the main shapes. You know, you can break every sculpt down into 3 levels. Very big shapes, as big as possible, as simple as possible. Simplify your model as big as, you know, as much as possible. Next step would be adding some detail, or adding some, I guess, secondary forms that kind of just detail out the basic shapes, I guess. And then the last one would be more very fine detail, like skin pores or anything like that. Wrinkles, that's all what you can add with the last level. You shouldn't really focus on, you know, the main or the detail before the first and second level are really like in place. Because if the first level doesn't work, the second level won't work. If the second level won't work, the last level will also not work. So keeping that in mind is very important. So you should always, especially if you do, like, I guess, likeness sculpting, or in general just sculpting of an animal, for example, always keep in mind that you make sure that even in the first, on the first level of detail, I guess, or not first level of detail, the first level of the sculpting, low resolution, that you can see when you want to go onto the next level, that you can see what you want to sculpt. So if your sculpt doesn't look like a face, I mean like a horse, you shouldn't probably go into the next level. You should probably work on it as long as you need to make it look like a horse, and then you can go into the second level of detail, or second level of the sculpt, to add some more detail, or in general refine the forms a little bit more. There you go. Nice little claws. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We're gonna pull this in a little bit more. Create these nice hands here. Aha. Okay. Connect the claws to the head, the hand itself. There you go. Make them a little bit more round, or sharp rather. There you go, perfect. Okay. I think they can be bigger, so I'm gonna pull them out a little bit more, make them wider here. There you go. We have 30 minutes left, so quite a lot to kind of detail this. So we're gonna make these claws a little bit bigger. There you go. Perfect. You can also pull this probably higher just a little bit. Like this. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Gonna give it some more volume on here, and then we should probably go into the next level. Although I want to add some more volume over here. What I want to do here is I want to go in here and just kind of give this like a plane going from the elbow to the shoulder, I guess, or the back. That is what you can see in the reference, and that's what I want to put in as well, just to kind of make it look like the reference. And then of course we always have to keep in mind that these are scales, which are pretty wide. So I'm gonna just use the, I guess, clay build-up brush to create these scaly shapes right here. They get pretty small in the end, something we have to keep in mind. Like this. It's always kind of annoying to sculpt these individual scales because it takes so long, but you know, the more attention you pay to it, the better it's gonna look in the end. There you go, very, very big scales at the end, going all the way out. Okay. I'm gonna make the back a little bit higher, or put it higher, make it more, I guess, straight, because that's what they look like. There you go, perfect. And then we can probably go into the next level. I want to make the mouth a little bit smaller here. There you go. Nice little mouth there, very cute. Okay. Okay, perfect. Let's go into the next level. Although, oh, there's one more thing that we have to add after I save this quick sketch, number 162. There you go, day 162. Okay, his ears look weird, or its ears. You can't even see it really, but it's there. So we're gonna add it. So we're gonna add it as well. I'm just gonna use my crease brush, make this weird circle here. It looks so weird. Like this weird donut shape here. There you go, looks like it's drawn on. Yeah. Okay, let's go into the next level of detail. I'm gonna increase the resolution to 50. There you go. And then I want to try something. Before I do that though, I wanted to make this distinction a little bit clearer here. So I'm just gonna go in here and add this. There you go. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to use the, what is it called? The thumb brush? Grab? No, thumb. There you go. How does that work? Zip? Nope, that looks horrible. Well, I'm not going to use that. Nope. I'm probably just going to use the snake hook brush. Let's see what that looks like. Looks even worse. Does it? Yeah, I'm probably just going to use my crease brush to do these scales. I think that's the easiest way to do them. So let's do that. I'm gonna go in here pretty wild and wacky, pretty freehand, not really caring too much about the structure. Just trying to, you know, imitate the scales, not really trying to make them perfect. Maybe make the strength a little bit more so I can, I guess, just draw them on. There you go. Yeah. See how we can just draw on these scales, kind of imitate them, give this more structure. It doesn't take long if you have enough if you have enough strength, and it can really enhance the look of whatever you're sculpting. If it's, you know, this is maybe even third level of detail, but in these quick sketches, you know, you can be a little bit more lenient with what you do first, or how you structure your sculpt. Just because you only have 30 minutes, so you try to make it, you know, look as good as possible. Not really necessarily caring about the anatomy too much. Of course, you still need to make it, you know, keep anatomy in mind, so that your, you know, sculpt actually looks like what you want it to represent. But in general, it's a little bit more lenient. You have some more leniency when it comes to the sculpt. There you go. Now just adding some more here. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and make this sharper. There you go. Okay. Let's go to the eye first. I want to make the eye a little bit more detailed. Give this some more detail here. Eyelids as well. There you go. Oh, that's quite deep. There you go. Smooth it out. Look at him. I don't know why, but because of their hand position, they always look like they're shy and just asking for something. I think that's also where I saw them first time. Maybe it was like a meme where there was like one just, you know, in this photo looking like they're trying to ask somebody out, you know, ask somebody out for prom or whatever. There you go. Should I go all around? Yeah, probably. There you go. Okay. We're not gonna see the bottom necessarily, so I'm probably gonna stop there. Kind of so I can work some more on this region here. These scales get pretty big. So we're gonna make them pretty big right here. Also pull them out some more like this. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Okay. We have 5 minutes left. Perfect timing to, you know, perfect timing for what we're going to do, what we're doing right now. Just kind of detailing everything. Making it look more realistic and also more, you know, just increasing the quality of the sculpt. Okay. Let's go in here and add some more detail over here. There you go. You can also smooth them out if you want to. I kind of like the structure on these pieces, so I'm probably going to keep it. There you go. Maybe not. We'll see. Oh, that looks weird. Weird shape there. Smooth it out. Okay. Let's add one more right here. Okay. Work on these some more. It's always... Oh, welcome back, Zachary. Hope you've had a great weekend. Doing the quick sketch right now, and then we're gonna go into in-depth facial anatomy and, you know, making it more, I guess, understandable for artists, for everybody that wants to either draw or sculpt the face or just understand the structure of the face in general a little bit better. And then even afterwards, doing a quick tutorial or explanation for my very, very simple skin shader that you can create in literally seconds. Thank you. My weekend was pretty good. I got a little bit of a sunburn. I was, you know, out for too long. I actually put on sunscreen, but it was probably too late already. But it's not too bad, so you know. I hate sunburn, so I try to be very careful. But sometimes, you know, it just happens. We have 2 minutes left, so let's create some more scales over here. Maybe let's see, make them bigger. This one can probably be more like this, kind of transferring or transitioning to just like this flat scale. There you go. Okay. Making this pretty quick because I want to go into, let's do that now. I'm going to go into the hands, detail them out some more. There you go. Make them maybe a little bit sharper as well. We'll see. Okay, there you go. Going in here, adding some more volume, defining the volume a little bit more. Perfect. We have these wrists. They look quite thin, so I'm gonna add some more some volume here as well. Other side as well. Make them not as thin, make them wider. Okay, perfect. Let's go back to the back to back. Add some more scales here, make it scalier. Now going in pretty rough, just trying to put in more to make it look more like it's actually covered in scales. We have a minute left to finish this, so let's go in here and really work on this. Just putting them in. Of course, they have kind of like a triangle shape, but it's kind of hard to really keep that in mind or really, you know, enforce that when you just try to put in as many as possible in this short amount of time. There you go. Okay. Oh. I think when you're sculpting the face, of course, a lot comes down to just practice. But I think there are a few tips especially that can really help in, you know, observing the face and actually seeing how it works. There are a few, I guess, revelations that I had when learning to sculpt that I think can be very helpful for anybody trying to sculpt, anybody trying to learn, that I want to share today. And now that we have finished the quick sketch, we can finish this and then go into that. I need to remove the eye so I can put in my good old sphere. Shouldn't take too long. There you go. Get rid of this. Nice eye hole. And then we're ready to do the render. There you go. Okay. Look at him. Okay. Let's remove the timer. Nobody needs you. I also got some new tunes. So maybe we'll hear some of them today. Probably. I mean, I have like 14 hours of songs, but there's probably going to be at least one of them in there. No, actually 17. I think I was at like 14 before, now we're at 17, so 3 more hours. Save that, and let's add some eyes. There you go. There you go. Small little eyes. Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Let's also use a boolean back here just to kind of cut off this back, make it flatter. There you go, pull it down. I don't want to cut off these scales though, so I gotta be pretty careful. There you go. Exactly, some more notes, some more notes to play. Nope, takes a little bit to calculate. Oh, there you go. Oh, I could also just use my add-on that I just added, but you know, have to think about it first before I can use it. Okay. Oh, okay, perfect. Let's remove this cube and let's render him. It, whatever. I need the lighting scene first, and let's stage him. Put the camera maybe to the side as usual. There you go. That's pretty cool. We're gonna use the focus point, maybe move him forward actually. That'll make the post-processing a little bit easier. There you go. Perfect. Right in the middle of the image. Yep, perfect. Let's go into rendered view so we can see what he looks like rendered. We need the lighting scene, so I'm gonna append that right now. There you go. Collection, geometry, and there you go. We need to adjust the lighting a little bit. It looks kind of odd. The lighting doesn't really highlight the structure too much. We also need a shader for the eyes. Let's put that in now. Dark and glossy, perfect. That's better for the structure. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. I also have this light that is basically only there for a reflection in the eye. Works quite well, you can see right there. Look at this nice reflection in the eye. Just makes him look more natural or more alive, you could say. We could also make this bigger. Let's see what that looks like. Increase the size just a little bit, maybe like this. Yeah, I think that's pretty cute. We also need the material that I use for my sculpts. So let's grab that. Where is it? There it is. Okay, perfect. You can see now the scales are just more highlighted. That is exactly what the shader is supposed to do. Kind of giving it some darkness in the creases. There you go. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, perfect. Okay. I'm gonna probably put the camera a little bit closer to fill out more of this frame, and that's probably pretty good. So let's do a quick render. The sketch render so we can do some post-processing. F10 and there you go. There he is. Let's do some post-processing. I mean, basically just adding glare in Blender at least. Oh, he's a very glowy boy. Let's add some, I guess, set the threshold higher, maybe to 5. It's quite strong, so maybe setting it to 5 and then maybe even to high reduces it enough. Yeah, I think that's okay. That's okay. Save it right there. Set the rendering samples to 256. And then also 100% render resolution. Save that and render. Oh, another old song. Gonna drink something real quick. Keep in mind to stay hydrated. 2.5 minutes. Okay. I remember, I think the longest I've been rendering one of these quick sketches was probably like 20 minutes. I don't even remember which one it was. It wasn't even too complex. I tried to figure out what was the problem, but I couldn't really figure it out. It was so super weird. But this one, you know, all the sculpts basically only take like 2 or 3 minutes, so that's pretty good. Nothing to worry about. Remaining, okay. Yep. Takes a little bit down there, probably because of all these scales that we've detailed. Today might be a little bit, you know, drier when it comes to the topic itself, but I think, I mean, you know, it is important. Theory might be boring sometimes, but I'll try to make it as enjoyable as possible. You know, I remember starting off, I basically learned sculpting the face, at least in the beginning, by just looking, or by just, you know, sculpting heads. That might be maybe not the best way to begin, but it was at least was the most fun way. And then at some point I looked more into facial anatomy, muscle structure, you know, fat pads in the face, or the bone structure, to kind of, you know, refine the sculpts, make them look more natural, make them look more realistic. My goal usually is to make the characters look realistic, so of course I have to adhere to the realistic shapes and forms and anatomy, and actually understanding what the muscles do, how the muscles, you know, what the muscle structure looks like and how that affects the volume of the face is actually pretty important, and actually, in my opinion, pretty interesting. Because then once you learn it, you can actually, if you, for example, just look at a person, you can kind of, while you're, for example, talking to them or whatever, or even just looking at an image, you can see if you can make out these individual parts of the anatomy of the face, and see if they actually, you know, look like how you have analyzed them, or how you think they would look like. Quick sketch day 162. It's the same, you know, compared to when you are like a shader artist, I guess, or texture artist, and every time you know, you see an interesting surface, you just think about how you could recreate this in you know, Blender, for example. You know, oh, you know, you need some a roughness texture there, you need some bumps there, how could you make them procedural, maybe even stuff like that. And you could do the same with faces, which can be pretty fun. So I think understanding the structure of the face can actually be pretty fun, although maybe in the beginning it might be pretty dry. Okay, let's do some post-processing in Photoshop. The usual, basically, just adding some more contrast here. There you go. Maybe even going in here, turning down the gray values. That's usually what I always do. There you go, that looks pretty good. Yeah. I'm also gonna go in here and use the good old texture, and then we're done with this image. Maybe on Saturday I went a little bit overboard with my quick sketch. Took maybe a little bit longer than I usually do. I think I worked on that one for like, I don't even know, like 1.5 hours. Just, I don't know, I wanted to make a character, and usually when I make characters I wanted to hit at least a certain amount of detail. So I worked on it maybe a little bit longer than I wanted to. but I think it turned out pretty good. And it was a pretty good practice. Okay, there you go. Let's save that, and then we can import it into the phone. Oh, come on. There you go. Save it as a JPEG. There you go. And there you go. Perfect. Let's get back to Blender. We need a new file so we can sculpt the face. So we're going to go in here and just go into the General tab. We can do General Blender file. But of course, before we go into how to sculpt the human head, how to sculpt the facial structure in general in depth, we're gonna go and upload this image. I will do that. You're gonna see a quick compilation as usual, as per usual, 3 minutes, and then we're back, and we're gonna start with today's main topic, the face structure, explained, hopefully understandable for artists. Yeah. Let me see if we need to import it. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Copy. Wait, did I already do it? I don't know. Can't remember. I don't think so. Nope, I didn't. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna see you in 3 minutes, and then we're gonna go into today's topic. Hope you enjoyed the compilation, and yeah. Enjoy. Okay, there we go. We're ready. So let's get into advanced head sculpting, let's say. Advanced face sculpting, whatever you want to say. So of course we have a sphere in the beginning. Let me just pull up some references first, or some, you know, images I want to talk about, so that we can start gathering some references, you could say. There you go. We don't need you anymore, pangolin. So I wanted to go over the individual aspects of the face to just kind of explain the structure of them, and yeah, make them more understandable for anybody that tries to sculpt them, basically, or maybe even draw them. So that especially when you create, for example, you know, face, or I guess you could say likeness sculpt, for example, it is very important to understand what really makes up a face, so that it can analyze it better and can kind of see how the variation of the face affects the look, and what, you know, why does the nose look small, or which aspect of the nose looks small, which aspect of the nose is pretty big. Stuff like that gets way easier the more you understand the anatomy of the face. So of course we're not only going to go into the bone structure of the skull, we're also going to go into muscle structure, and also the fat pads, because they all these three layers play an important part in sculpting realistic looking characters. I have a collection of anatomy references, not only on Pinterest but also on my PC, that we're going to look at to kind of, you know, get a better look and a better understanding of what it takes to create a head, or what a head is made out of. Oh, hold on. There you go. There's also a book, I think it's a book, maybe like an e-book, that is called, what is it? Anatomy for Sculptors. They release, you know, like pages of the book every once in a while to just kind of visualize or kind of show what they, you know, talk about in the book. It is pretty useful. You can find a lot of references from them online if you just look up, you know, facial structure, or you basically just anatomy for sculptors, for example. You should find a lot of them, or a lot of their, you know, illustrations, for example. And yeah, so if you ever, you know, need a quick reference for whatever you want to sculpt, just looking up like the eye anatomy for sculptors, for example, you should find pretty good, you know, references for the eye, and or any aspect of the face, maybe even any aspect of the body, by just typing that in, because then you get references not only for medical, you know, for example, for medical purposes, but also for, you know, for artists. Usually artists don't really have to know every single bone of the face. They more need to know the way these shapes affect the head, or, you know, whatever they're going to sculpt, the volume, I guess you could say. Oh, what is this? Didn't want to do that. There you go. Okay. So the first thing we're going to look at is probably the nose. The nose is pretty simple once you know how it works. The nose is also pretty simple, I guess, in general, in my opinion, compared to the other pieces of the head. Or actually, we're going to start with the skull, because the skull is the most important foundational aspect of a face that you have to get right to really, I guess, make your character look realistic. So what we're going to look at first is the skull. Let me just quickly pull up another reference for the skull, and then we can start. Oh, hold on. There you go, perfect. So let's begin. Let's go over sculpting the human face in depth. We're going to start with the skull, of course, the skull being the foundation of the face. The most important part to get a face right, the skull basically or if you think about the face in different layers or different, basically layers, you have the bone layer, you have the muscle layer, and then you have the fat layer, I guess. The bone layer sits on top of not the bone layer. The muscle layer sits on top of the bone layer. It is connected not only to the bones, but also to the skin. And then on top of those muscles, you have fat that lies on top of it, just to kind of, store some fat there in the face. So if you have a problem, or if you have a mistake in your bone structure, the muscle structure has to, respect that mistake as well, which means it's going to just continue to keep that mistake in there, which means your sculpt in the end will look pretty weird. So, or you can still see the mistake in the end of the sculpt. So always keep in mind to make sure that every single layer of your face looks right, making sure that the bone layer looks right in the beginning, then going into the muscle layer, making sure that the muscle layer looks good, and then afterwards we're gonna, going into the fat pad layer to kind of, to finish the head and sculpting a realistic character. So what I want to do first is, or the plan is basically to first explain the structure of the head, and then afterwards going into recreating it in Blender, and also talking about maybe even showing how you can do it pretty quickly to just kind of, you don't want to work on the head. You don't want to study the head every time you want to create a character. You kind of want to get a hang of it and get in a flow where you don't really have to care, or where you don't really have to think about it too much. You just know how to really create a good skull. That's the goal basically. So I'm trying to explain it a little bit more in depth, and then afterwards going into how to sculpt it pretty quickly for your everyday sculpt. So in the beginning, we're gonna go over to the skull. Let me open up this up because we need an image, the reference basically. So we're gonna go in here, and I'm gonna open my reference. I'm gonna save it first so I can actually open it. There you go. References, head. There you go. Okay. So the first part of the head would probably be the bone structure, which means we need a skull to look at. What is this? Oh, we have a skull. So let's begin with the skull. Everything else lies on top of it. Of course, you could say, well, the brain is inside of the skull, but we're not going to sculpt the brain, and the brain isn't really affecting the shape of the head, so we don't really have to think about it, because it's just, basically part of the skull shape. So let's talk about the shapes of the skull. The skull in general is basically made out of two pieces. You have the upper part, then you have the lower part. You have the back region here, this round, basically round ending of the skull. And then in the front, you basically have all the parts of the face that make up the structure of the face, basically. You have the eye hole, basically eye hole. You have the forehead, you have the cheekbones, you have, of course, the teeth, we have the nose hole, you could say. And then, of course, you have the lower jaw as well. Let me just quickly pull up my painting brushes so I can paint them in, so we can structure them a little bit better. Okay, let's begin. Let's go over this head here, basically. Where are my colors? There you go. Okay, so we're going to start with let's start with the red. Okay. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. So, in the beginning, we can probably separate this into two pieces. We have the back region that probably starts right here, goes maybe all the way over here. And that is the back part of the head. Oh, let's go in here. There you go. That is the back part of the head. The only really part that really connects, or that is part of the back part, that might still play into the face, that could be considered part of the face, would be the ear. The ear hole is right behind the jaw, right here. That is where your ear basically connects to, to your to your head basically. So this is the ear, and then you have the lower jaw, and then we have the upper jaw, basically not jaw, but you know, the upper part of the face. So let's separate these two pieces as well. You have the lower jaw that goes from here, that is basically connected right there in this corner right there, you know, in the back here, right next to the ear, roughly in the middle of the skull. You have this piece going forward here, going into the cheekbone basically, and then going down like this, and doing this curve here and connecting. Let's use the teeth as well. There you go. That is basically the lower jaw. There you go. And then of course we have the upper part of the head. Let's maybe draw it in here as well. We're gonna grab the purple first. We can see it right here. That's the lower jaw connecting to the upper part of the head. There you go. Pretty simple, but it's going to be important when we go into, I guess, sculpting the head. We then have the red part of the head that goes all the way around like this. Oh, there you go. That basically includes everything in the back and goes to the forehead basically, like this, to the hairline, you could say. And then we have the front part of the head. We have the cheekbones, for example. Let's use another color for the cheekbones. There you go. So we have the cheekbones right here that go and connect to the nose, basically. There you go. We have the cheekbones right here. You can see they go pretty far out. That is basically why you can see like a small bump on the outside, especially if you look from the side. You can see a small bump right there. That is because of the cheekbone. The cheekbone goes very far out, quite far out, and then comes in and basically connects to the nose like this. There you go. You could also say, going from looking in profile view, going from the tip of the nose to the middle of the head. In the middle of this distance is where your cheekbones would originate, or would go out basically. There you go. So if you would go from here to maybe over here somewhere, in the middle of that roughly would be your cheekbone origin basically. Okay. Then of course we also have the eye hole. Right here, of course. There you go. Oh. Eye holes roughly being in the middle of the head. For males, then can be higher. For females, then can be lower. Of course, they could also be lower for males, but you know, talking in general. Wait, how can I move my... Oh, there you go. You can also see the male head in general just looks bigger. You have a bigger jaw, for example. You have a bigger, I guess, upper part of the head. You can see right here. This is also more round than this. Yeah. You have some variations, but we're not going to look at the variations too much. We're going to look more into the structure of the skull in general. Okay, so then we have the eyes, we have the cheekbones, we have the back part of the head, we also have the jaw, and then we have you know, a few more pieces. One important piece is the nose bridge, basically the bone nose bridge, the bone part of the nose bridge, let's say. Let's paint that in. That would be right here, of course. There you go. Let me make this a little bit bigger, maybe. There you go. So we have the bone bridge right here, or the bone part of the nose, the hole. There you go. Right there. We're gonna go into the nose a little bit later. Right now I'm just trying to simplify the skull a little bit more so that you can then, you know, keep these pieces in mind when you sculpt your skull to make your characters. So we have the nose right here as well, connecting to the forehead like this. There you go. And then we have, yeah, I guess the teeth as well. You could say the upper row of teeth. Let's use another color. What color do we have here? Green. We have used green, but you can see it on the front view at least. So we have the upper teeth. Let's put them maybe like this. There you go. Let's connect this here. Okay. So we have that now, and yeah, we basically only have the forehead now. The forehead, of course, being still pretty important. One important aspect of the forehead that you have to keep in mind is that you have this dip here. You can see the upper, or the jaw goes underneath the cheekbone, which means there needs to be a hole in the cheekbone. The hole is basically right here. If you would you know, put a ring around or into the hole of the cheekbone, it would be like this. You know, going out here and then into the hole right there, where the jaw basically goes into as well. So you have this wait, there's another color. We have this edge right here that is very significant right there. That edge you can also see on the side here, that kind of creates a frame around the eyes. This frame is very important to make the skull shape look right. It not only highlights the cheekbone more, it gets filled by muscles a little bit, but it's still noticeable in your sculpt. Especially you should keep it in mind in your, I guess, yeah, in your sculpt, when you're sculpting the skull. The first layer, the bone layer, basically. So there we have that now. Let's add one more thing, which would be the forehead. You could probably separate the forehead into 2 pieces, or into, let's say, yeah, let's say 2 pieces. You have the main shape, which would be this sphere right here, like this. And then you have these triangle shapes for the eyebrows. So the eyebrows, let's say we grab another color. What do we have here? Purple? No, we already have that. Blue? There's no more colors. This one, okay. So you have the forehead right here beginning, then it goes up, and then goes, of course, down to kind of give it, kind of frame the eyes. And then you have this triangle shape that goes out like this. You could probably detail it more, but right now we're just trying to highlight the main shapes of the head. Okay. So can we, somehow, do we have layers here? Let's see. Please give me layers. I need layers. Oh no. Okay. Can we hide it? Let's see. View. Paint. No. So, okay. Let's go over, I guess, the structure of the head now that we've kind of detailed it. Oh, we have one more thing we have to do. First of all, we need this here. There you go. And then we also have the forehead, which should be probably this color. There you go. Okay, so let's go over the structure again. Now that we've simplified it, let's begin with, I guess, the easiest part, which would be the back of the head. There you go. So let's begin very simple. You have a big chunk of your head in the back, the round shape in the back, which then goes into the front and splits up into multiple parts of the, or gets more detailed basically. The back is pretty simple, just round or more oval, you could say. It is also the widest part of the head. It is wider than the face. The face, it gets slimmer than the back of the head. That's also why you can kind of see the back of the head, basically the oval shape in the back. Even when you're looking at somebody from the front, just because your face gets slimmer, the more it gets to the face. Let's go into the individual shapes. So you have the main part of the head, or the back part of the head, pretty simple, pretty just like round or oval shaped, and then it goes into, first of all, two pieces. You have the jaw right here, the purple marking here. You have the lower jaw with the teeth, the chin, and then you can also see the shape right here. It connects to the head right here, right there. It connects to the head right there, and rotates from here, which means if you open your jaw, you basically rotate it. If you the beginning of the teeth from here, if the teeth would be there when you close the jaw, when you rotate it from here, that would mean that the teeth go back like this. You have to keep that in mind when you're sculpting expressions, especially. Exactly. When you look at from top down, you imagine like an egg shape. Yeah. So yeah, the back is basically just wider than the front. You could also kind of frame it so that the face is like this shape, and then you have a bigger, I guess, shape in the back here, kind of creating a box where, yeah, a trapezius, you could say, trapezius shape. Yeah, so you have the very simple back shape here, this egg shape, you could also say. You have the cheekbone in blue, you have the jaw, pretty simple, and you have the upper row of teeth, which are kind of as wide as the eyes, or yeah, basically the yeah, you have the upper part of the teeth going into the cheekbones. The cheekbones are connected to the nose, so yeah, simplifying everything makes it a little bit easier to understand. You have the cheekbones, the eyes, the nose, forehead, I guess middle part of the forehead. So now that we know what the structure of the head looks like, let's put that into practice and let's actually sculpt the head so we can respect all these shapes and kind of, I guess, visualize them better in 3D. So I'm gonna make this smaller. There you go. We actually have to go into sculpting, so we need the same image here. Wait, there you go. Okay, so let's sculpt the head. Dynamic topology, there you go. Constant detail, 20. Symmetry, there you go. Yeah, the face is mostly symmetrical, so we can enable symmetry at least for the beginning. Okay, so let's sculpt the head. If you look at the sphere, you can already see, I guess, where would you put the sphere in the head? If you had to put the sphere into the head shape, where would you put it? Probably in the upper part of the head at least. You wouldn't include the lower jaw. So what do we still have to add? We would have to add the lower jaw. So the easiest way to do that would just be to pull out more geometry. You can see if you compare it to this right here, you can see, first of all, it may be a little bit wider, so we could, pull it out more. We could also just, push it down a little bit. We don't really care about it too much in the beginning. What we care about more right now is the shape in general, including everything right now, basically making the head shape as simple as possible, and then just kind of adding more and more detail to make it look more like a skull. So the biggest part that is missing right now would be the lower jaw. Let's add the lower jaw. You could also maybe say the upper part of the... Yeah, let's include the upper row of the teeth as well. So going in here, let's add both of these, basically the bottom part of the face. We're just going to grab with our snake hook brush and pull this down, so we have some more geometry down here as well. Now we immediately included both parts of the mouth, all the way, up to the nose. Basically, we've included this box right here. The problem is, you can see there's quite a steep angle. So what we can do now is we can pull this back to respect the shape of the jaw. So we're going to pull this back like this, and now we basically created the lower jaw shape. You can see it's quite wide compared to this one. So what we can do is we can just make it a little bit slimmer, just push it smaller. There you go. Maybe, you can see right here, it's quite short in the back here. So what you could do is you can make it longer like this. What you can also do is you can just, pull this down, maybe even make it longer afterwards. Yeah, let's make it longer. Maybe, yeah, let's do both. There you go. Okay, so now that we have the very most basic head shape, let's get into adding just a little bit more detail. I guess the easiest part of the head that we could add would be the the indents, because we have to remove first before we can add more detail, or before we can add more volume. So why not start with what needs to be deeper, what we have to remove from this current volume to make it look more like the head shape. There are two main parts of the head that would count in that, I guess, category. We have not only the hole right here that goes, that is where basically the hole behind the eyes, and also basically the lower jaw. So if you would draw this in here, hold on, where's my, there you go, oh, there we go, tool, where's my tool? Oh, paint. So what you basically have to remove in this volume is not only this region right here, but also this region right here. You can see how much thinner it is compared to this upper part here as well. So what you can do is we can grab the clay strips brush. I usually put it pretty high, and then what I do is I basically just remove parts from here and also from here to kind of respect the shape of to recreate the shape of the skull. Keep in mind that the cheekbones are a little bit lower than the length of the head, so we're gonna keep that in mind. What we could do, for example, is we could go in here and use a mask to kind of mask out the cheekbone like this. Then we can go in here and remove some of this like this. I usually do it freehand. Oh, this is quite a lot. Maybe make it a little bit weaker. There you go. There you go. Keeping in mind that we still need the teeth. The teeth are like this I guess, how could you call it, like a cylinder shape. So we keep the teeth right here. We have the cheekbones right there. Then we have the eyes in the front right here, like there. Maybe a little bit lower. We can adjust it later. So what we need as well would be this dent behind the eyes, which would be right here. It's deeper right there, and then tapers off in the back. There you go. And then once we smooth it and we remove the mask, you can see it looks immediately more like a skull. Smoothing everything out a little bit more. Maybe pulling the cheekbones a little bit lower, like this. There you go. And yeah, that would be the next step. We've basically just added a little bit more detail to the head. We can maybe make this, remove some more over here. There you go. Oh, okay, perfect. So now that we've basically included the lower jaw, we detailed the lower jaw a little bit more, we've basically included the cheekbones now. Let's actually create the shape of the cheekbones, which would be just adding a little bit more volume to the side so that these pieces here, these pieces, are basically the widest, or with the back of the head, the widest part. Let's say the widest part of the face, because the face wouldn't really include the back of the head. So we're gonna just add some more detail here. There you go. Smooth it out. And there you go, we've included the cheekbones. Now, we have the cheekbones included. Let's go and add the next important part of the face, which would be the eye holes. The eye holes are very important because you place your eyes in there. So let's go into that next. Let's add the eye holes. The eye holes, if you look at the face right here, if you go from the lowest part of the head to the highest part of the head, so basically the distance from the jaw to the, I guess, yeah, top part of the head, in the middle of that, in the middle of this distance are the eye sockets. So we're going to place them there in our sculpt as well. They have this, I guess, downward rotating oval shape. So we're going to go pretty close in the center right here. If the middle would probably be roughly where the cheekbones are, maybe a little bit higher. We can probably just pull them down a little bit more like this. There you go. And then we're going to grab the clay strips brush, for example. We're going to start right here and create this eye shape like this. And there you go, we have the eye sockets. You can also see, seeing from the side view, zip, that they are quite shallow, I guess, from the side view. We could adjust that, but we're going to do that later. Now we can see we have the eyes in here as well. We can maybe adjust the shape a little bit more if we want to, you know, maybe even making them bigger if we wanted to. But I think that's a good start that we have right here. We can also always, of course, adjust the width of the head. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. So now that we've removed, or we've added the eyes, the next thing that is important for, or you know, what is still missing? I guess the most important part that is still missing for this skull shape would be the nose bridge. You can see it right here. It originates from the forehead. You could kind of say the forehead is right there, but we're going to add it. We're going to give it some more detail in just a second. I want to add the nose first. So now that we've detailed the cheekbones and the general shape of the head, let's add the nose. So the nose originates right between the eye sockets and goes all the way to the forehead, basically from here between the eyes, and then all the way down roughly to the bottom of the cheekbones. So the cheekbones would be right here, which would mean they end the nose hole would be right here. Let's add the shape of the nose. You can see from the side view that is kind of like a downward slope. You can also see that the mouth, or the teeth, are further forward than the nose, the bony nose part. So we can, if you want, pull this further forward. What we can also do, or could do, is we could, you know, remove some of that volume, but I think it's better to push this forward. There you go, just a little bit, and then we can add the nose. The nose originates from here. You can see there's a small dip going from the nose to the forehead, so we're going to add that as well. There you go, just a small little dip right here, like this. There you go, maybe we can smooth it out. We could also make it bigger if you want to. Of course, that is all dependent on what your character should look like. And then it goes to down here to roughly where the cheekbones are, roughly over here. And it goes up like this. And there you have your nose. You can also see you know, what we haven't really included just yet is the downward slope, not only going from the forehead to, I guess, the tip of the nose, the bony part of the nose, but also then going back to the teeth, I guess. It also slopes down, so it's more like this. Smoothing it. There you go. There you have the head shape. Of course, you can also detail the teeth a little bit more. I can probably pull this a little bit higher. There you go. We also should respect the shape of the jaw. You can see right here. This one's pretty straight compared to this one. Females usually have a more sloped, I guess, they have an angle to their jaw. For males, it is more of a straight, you know, angle. I guess the corner back here for males is more closer to 90 degrees than for females. Going in here, putting that in would be, yeah, let's do that later. Or not at all. Or basically, you can look at here and you can see this angle right here and this edge is straighter for males, and also this part of the jaw is, I guess, more horizontal than for females. So what we could do, if this would be a male skull, we could pull this down and maybe pull this up to make this look more like a male character. It's not perfectly, you know, straight, horizontal, but it gets pretty close to it. There you go. I think this gets pretty close to a skull already. We can detail this a little bit more, and we haven't really added any detail. We only really focus on the main shapes. We only looked at every single piece of this color here to really make it look like, and sculpted those in. And it already looks pretty good, or pretty much like a skull. Let's add the teeth as well, or separate the upper row from the lower row. You can see the, I guess, the distance from, or where where are the teeth located? They're basically in the middle, from going from the base of the nose at the bottom to the jaw. You can see they're in the middle of these, of the distance right there. So going from here to here, going into the middle, maybe over here, there you go. That would be where your teeth are. So we're going to grab a crease brush and just sculpt that in right there. Going all the way down here. There you go. We also can see that the upper row has a little bit more volume. There you go, nice teeth. Of course, the upper and lower part of the mouth aren't really connected. So we would have like a hole right there. But of course, if this, you know, if we add more volume on top of this, we don't really need holes, because then we would have to fill them back in later. So we're not going to add the holes there. You can also see that the upper row of the teeth is roughly as wide, or they go in terms of width to the middle of the eye hole. So if you have the eye hole right here, like this, the middle is probably roughly over here. You can see this row of teeth is too wide. So what we can do is we can just make this thinner. There you go. You can also see the jaw isn't as wide as the cheekbone, so you can make this thinner as well. There you go. There you go. It looks already pretty much like a skull. We can maybe make this more oval. It lost some of its volume right here. Smoothing it out. Excuse me. Okay. Then we have one more part that we need to add. Or, you know, we could basically maybe detail this piece a little bit more, kind of, you know, highlight the cheekbone a little bit more if we wanted to. There you go. The cheekbone connecting to the nose right there. We can also pull the nose down a little bit more. There you go. Okay. Now that we have the eyes, we have the mouth, we have the nose, we also have the cheekbones and the lower jaw. What is still missing? Of course, the forehead. Let's add the forehead. So the forehead we've specified before is basically made out of two parts. You have this, basically the continuation of the back egg head shape, I guess, that then goes into the forehead. So you basically have the egg shape, or this oval shape, just following this all the way around to the front, to the forehead, and then connecting to the middle of the, I guess, to the middle of the face. But then you also have these triangles on the side that kind of envelop, or go around this oval shape to highlight the eyebrows and also the forehead a little bit more. So you have this double shape. You have this oval shape right here, and then you have these triangles going back like this. That's basically the forehead. So if you would add this to the skull, Gio, welcome, Joao, probably horribly spelled, pronounced, I mean. Okay, there you go. So let's add these triangles that go like this to this head shape. Let's begin with the this part right here. You have a protrusion in the front, as you can see right here as well. You have a small protrusion. You have this dip where the nose connects to the forehead, and then you have the forehead right here that then goes back like this, creates this volume on the side, and then goes back like this. So it kind of creates this circle shape around the main oval part of the head. This is going to make more round. There you go. And this goes back over here. There you go. If you look at people that, in a 3/4 view, you can see, can you see it with mine? You can see a small, I guess, corner right here. And that is basically this triangle right here. This piece right here. Of course, the more you define it, the more it's visible. So depending on what your character looks like, that is a very important aspect that is very telling to the structure of your character's face. There you go. And then you have your skull. The skull looks pretty simple, I think, or it might look pretty complex, but if you follow these simple shapes, it is pretty simple to construct. Let's create simple masks to separate these pieces again. So you have the lower jaw right here. There you go. Connecting to the upper part of the head right here. That's the lower jaw. Then you have the upper row of teeth that goes all the way back behind the lower jaw even. Connects to the nose right here. Then we have the cheekbone that connects to, or let's begin with the nose. The nose, basing or connecting to the lower or upper row of teeth, going all the way to the forehead in between the eye holes. Then we have the cheekbones that originate from the nose. If you look from the top, they basically go horizontal to the side like this, If you look from the top, you can see they don't really have like a forward, motion. They don't move forward like this. They have more like a horizontal trajectory like this. You can also see it in the reference. In the female, for example, you can see how it just goes straight into the nose like this. So you have the cheekbones right here. There you go. Then we have, of course, the eye holes. we have this edge. We could maybe, you know, detail out more. We have this edge right here. This kind of dip right here. Oop. Let's do it like this. Then we have the forehead. The forehead is basically made out of two pieces. We have this piece right here, the oval, and then we have the triangle forehead right here that goes back like this. Okay, well, looks kind of messy now, but yeah. So there's a way to create colors in here, but I don't know how it works. So if you use this draw faces, hold on. Thank you, Joao. Yeah, if that helps you, I'm, you know, I'm glad. Hope the rest will also help you. You know, we're gonna go over basically the whole, you know, I guess the structure of the face in general. Not only the skull, but everything. But of course, if you want to create a character, you should start with the skull. So this is the beginning of your character, creating the skull. This is the most basic, I guess, skull shape. You could go into more detail. You're really detailing out these, you know, the jaw, for example. But we don't really need to do that. For artists, you know, this should only be the foundation where we build more on top of. So this is only the beginning. And shouldn't be detailed too much because you're not going to see it in the end anyway. So how do you draw facets? Visible, inner, grow facet. Welcome back, James. Hope you had a great weekend. Hopefully it wasn't too warm. So how does this work? Nope. I don't know how this facet works, but this should be that would be super helpful if this actually would work. But apparently it doesn't. Yeah, we're today, you know, you you asked for a more detailed explanation of the face and, you know, the nose, for example. So today's the day we're gonna go and cover, I guess, a more detailed view at the face to kind of maybe hopefully visualize or make it more understandable how you sculpt a face. Right now we basically went over the head. First of all, we looked at references and make them simpler, and then we executed on that, you know, on this, implemented one of these pieces one by one, so we can create the skull. I'm trying to figure out how you can use this facets brush. It doesn't work. Box facet. Hold on. What does that work? It doesn't even work. Why? What is that? Do you have to activate facets? Oh, okay. So nothing too bad. Okay. Yeah, well, oh, we could do something else. Let's go back to layered. Okay. So let's you know, convert this or add this onto here as well. We have the good old annotation pencil. There you go. Okay. Where are we need the surface. There you go. Okay, let's begin. So the first part, let's begin with the cheekbones. We have the cheekbones. The cheekbones, or yeah, let's begin with purple. There you go. So the purple part would be the jaw, which would mean the jaw is right here. Oh, why is it so thin? Can we make it thicker? Thickness. Okay. There, oh, there you go. So this would be the jaw. Oh, well, we should probably continue here. There you go. So this will be the jaw. Of course, including the lower part of the teeth as well, the lower row, like this. There you go. Can you somehow make it, I guess, not see-through? Let's see. Locations, parents. Thickness. I don't think you can. Well, yeah. So for the eyes, the eyes are roughly in the middle of the head. So what you can do is what we've done. You can either first add the cheekbones, or what you can do is you can add the eyes first. We're gonna go and create this skull shape quickly in just a second. I just wanted to highlight the individual pieces that we've highlighted before. So we have the lower jaw right here. And then we have, let's add the upper part of the mouth. Oh, hold on, I know, okay. There you go. We have the upper part of the mouth, which would be right here. Oh, I need a thickness of 10, please. There you go. Connecting to the nose, going all the way around, and then underneath the cheekbone, including the teeth as well. There you go. So that would be the this region right here. I'm not going to add the lines because that would be too confusing, because you can see it through the sculpt anyway. Then we have the nose. The nose is pretty simple. Orange, there you go. We have the nose. The nose is pretty simple. We just connect the nose going from the lower part of the teeth. McDonald's sign. You mean this part here? Going from the nose all the way up. Oh, dude, why do I always have to increase the strength? There you go. Going up to the forehead, between the eyes, like this. Going back down. And then you have this hole right here. You could also include the hole into the sculpt if you wanted to, like this. There you go. Perfect. So, I guess there are two ways to sculpt. Yeah, there are basically two ways to sculpt. You could either, well, yeah. So if you begin with a sphere, you can either start with a sphere or you start with a base mesh. A base mesh basically meaning you have a base character model that you then use to customize that and create your own character, or you start with a sphere, which is what we've done here for this skull. If you use the base mesh, you don't really need to use dynamic topology. You can basically just increase the subdivision level to add more detail and refine the shapes more and more and more. But if you use a sphere to begin with, you basically need to use dynamic topology. Dynamic topology basically makes it so that if you, for example, pull out the geometry, it adds more geometry into this pulled out piece, so that these faces don't get stretched. They actually just get, I guess, separated into smaller pieces, which means you can transform the sphere into whatever you need. So depending on what you need or what you use, you either need dynamic topology or you don't. I've used both techniques before. I prefer, or at least, you know, of course, using a character base mesh is quicker, but I prefer actually, you know, starting with a sphere, just because it's actually quite fun to start with the skull. Yeah, so now that we have the nose, let's go to the cheekbones. The cheekbones starting from the nose right here, and then going out like this, and then going all the way back to the ear right here. There you go. That's the cheekbone. Do the same on the other side. That's a nice curve. There you go. So those are the cheekbones. You can see from the top, they go basically from the nose straight outwards. They don't really have they don't go diagonal forwards. They basically just go straight out. You can also see it in here or in here. So now that we have the cheekbones, let's go to, I guess, you could also, I guess, include the eye holes. Although they're basically just, I guess, the missing volume. There you go. You have the eye holes right here. Like this. Oh. In this, I guess, outward or downward rotated oval shape. Then we have, I guess, this edge here for, or this hole. You basically have a hole going from down here, from here, through the cheekbone or right next to the cheekbone to here. There would be a hole. And then you have this dent right here. You have this edge right here that kind of just, you know, goes around the eyes. And then you have this hole right here, which would be like this. There you go. We need some more color. Okay. Which would be right here. Oh, I knew there was something that I was missing. Right here. Do the same on the other side. There you go. Those indents, basically, you could call them. You've been watching some sculpting tutorials. Did they help you? Hopefully. I mean, the best, I guess, practice or the best way to learn would be to do it yourself, you know. But sculpting tutorials can give you a nice, you know, boost when you begin. There you go. Let's add another layer for the forehead. There you go. Which would be the lower forehead, I guess you could say. Nice and yellow. Right here, connecting to the nose, creating this triangle. And then also going around this oval in the middle, like this. You can see this bump if you look from a 3/4 view. You can not only see the cheekbone very, you know, I guess, it's very protruding quite a lot. And then you also have this brow edge right there, or this brow triangle. And then of course you have the last piece, which would be the other part of the forehead, the oval basically, which has this bright blue right here. Oh, we have also the back of the head in red. There you go. So let's add the back of the head as well. In red. There you go. Kind of confusing to see it through the mesh. There you go. You know, you can maybe include like a line in the middle. Whoa, what is that? That's interesting. There you go. So looking from the side, you can see these individual shapes. You have the cheekbone right here, the blue part. Excuse me. You have the lower jaw, you have the upper teeth region, teeth row. You have the nose right here. We have the eyes, we have the forehead, we have the other part of the forehead, and then we have the back of the head. So now that we have simplified the skull, let's do a quick sculpt of the skull to, yeah, just kind of bring everything together and go through the motion of creating a skull pretty quickly, so that we can kind of, you know, I guess, yeah, just go through the motion again. Let's go back to, oh, we need another piece right here. What happens if I move this? Oh. Oh, okay. Well, this doesn't... okay. Well, can I hide these? I can, okay. Okay. Let's try it again. Let's add another sphere. There you go. And let's create the skull again. Yeah, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit until you understand it. Sometimes it, you know, it gets quite, it just flows into each other. That's just dependent on the topic, I guess. There you go. So let's begin with another skull, just to kind of bring everything together and make it a little bit quicker. We're going to use 20 resolution, of course, symmetry as always. And there you go. So let's begin with the jaw. As we said before, we have the upper part of the head basically, so let's add the jaw. We're just going to pull this down. There you go. There you go. We're going to pull it to the side to include the cheek, or yeah, the jaw basically. We can also pull it down because the jaw is more oval. The jaw is also thinner than the upper part of the head, more like this. There you go. We can also pull this down a little bit. There you go, maybe even pull it back, make this more like an oval shape. Oh. There you go. So now that we have that, let's get into the cheekbones. The cheekbones would be, if the middle of the head would be roughly over here, the cheekbones would be a little bit lower, so probably over here. Let's put them in now. There you go. Then we can use the clay strips to remove some of this. And then also in the top right here for this, I guess, greenish region here, this dent right there. Smoothing it a little bit. There you go. So now we immediately have not only the teeth in here, we also have the, I guess the, what do you call it, like the edge of the eye. Now that we also have the cheekbones in here, we could highlight the cheekbones, or let's not start with the cheekbones, let's start with the eyes. The eyes, of course, would be right above the cheekbones, which would mean if you have the cheekbones right here, like this, the eyes would be above that. You can also see probably the cheekbones are a little bit too high because they're roughly in the middle of the head. So I'm going to pull them a little bit lower. There you go. Let's go to the eyes, grabbing the clay strips brush, making it pretty strong. Just adding these holes to both sides. There you go. Perfect. Look at that. We have this small little dip or dent right here where the nose connects to the forehead. We can put that in, smooth it in. There you go. Then we have the nose. What we also have is that the teeth are further forward than the nose or the forehead. So we're going to pull it forward like this. Just a little bit, not too much. The jaw is either straight right here or pretty diagonal, depending on whether it's female or male. Of course, it can vary, but we stay to the average. We stick to the average. We have the nose as well, so let's put in the nose. We could either just add more volume, or what you can also do is we can just, I guess, mask this out. But I'm going to just use the clay strips brush, add some more volume here for the nose. It goes a little bit deeper than that, maybe like this. Oh, there you go. We can also see that the nose has a inward rotation at the bottom. Some more like this. There you go. So we have the nose right here. We have the cheekbones now. The cheekbones, of course, are quite protruding. Right now they're just flat, so we need some more volume right here. We can either do that or we could just pull them out like this. The problem is if you pull them out, you can see that we pull the eyes apart as well. So I'm just going to add some more volume. There you go. They, of course, connect to the nose up here. There you go. And then go all the way back to the end of the jaw. where the ears would connect right there. We could also pull this down a little bit if you want to. There you go. So we have the cheeks now. Maybe a little bit wider here. There you go. Then we have the teeth. The teeth are roughly in the middle of this this distance from the nose to the jaw. So we can just go into the middle of this, probably, you know, going from here to here. Roughly in the middle would be right there. So we're gonna put a line right there, a crease. There you go. Also, the upper row of the teeth, or basically the teeth, are only as wide as the middle of this eye hole. So we're gonna make them a little bit thinner. Also, the jaw down there is thinner than the head at the top, like this. Smooth it out. Doesn't really need to look that sad. There you go. Okay. Then we have the, I guess, forehead region. We have this small protrusion here, and then we have these triangles going back like this, adding some more volume on this side here, on both sides of course, and then kind of creating this circle in the middle of the forehead, so that we can see from the side this kind of like this bump right here, and then also this bump for the cheekbone. There you go. That would be the skull. Of course, you can vary it depending on what you want it to look like. You could make it, I don't know, make it wider. You can make it longer. That's all to your liking, whatever you want to do with it. But that is the basic skull shape. The nose can stay there. We can pull the cheeks higher a little bit. There you go. Perfect. Also, the nose gets wider in the bottom, at the bottom than in the top. You know, the top is thinner than the bottom. There you go, and that is the basic skull shape. Now that we have the skull shape, what's the next layer? The next layer would be muscles. Let's go to the basic muscle structure. Yeah, let's go back to layout. We don't need you anymore reference, we need another reference. Let me pull up the next reference that we need, which would be for facial muscles. I think this one's pretty good. Gonna save it real quick. Oh, we actually have one already. Which we don't really have to detail. But we could do it. But I want to do it myself, so I'm gonna save this other reference. Gonna pull it up. There you go. Where's my reference? There it is. Okay. So let's get into the muscle structure of the face. You can see right here, or actually, so we could go very in depth, but I think if we wanted to go really in depth, we need to go, we need more time. I think which would be more valuable right now would be, I guess, sculpting, how to sculpt the individual aspects of the face, like for example the eyes or the nose or the lips. How you would add the lips now to this to the skull. Welcome, Thomas. Hope you had a great weekend, maybe even a great Monday, as great as a Monday can be. Yeah, so now that we've basically covered the face, let's get into, I guess, individual aspects of the face. So how could we add the eyes, for example? How could we add the nose? How could we add the lips to the skull to make it look more, more like a human? Of course, the most important part would be to fill all this, I guess, void, all these emptiness in the skull to make it look more like a actual face, which would be why we need the muscles basically you can see right here we have muscles going from the mouth to the cheekbones that fill this space right here, for example. This space right here. Oh, hello. This space right here. We have like the mouth right here in the middle, and then we have muscles going to the cheek, which kind of fill this empty space right here, for example. We also have a muscle going from the jaw right here that you can see right there to the cheekbone to, you know, so you can lift your jaw up and down. That goes from right here all the way up to the cheekbone right there. Oh, that's interesting. Like this. So that you can open and close your mouth. If you flex if you chew, you can see this muscle right there kind of bulking up, I guess you could say. Then you also have a few more muscles going to the bottom part right here of the jaw, basically just to perform different mouth motions, smiling for example, or pulling it down like this. That's where you have these different muscles or coming together to the mouth. So this is how you can fill the bottom part of the mouth, how you can add the muscles to the bones at the bottom part of the mouth, the head. Let's go to the upper part of the head. And I guess the one region that isn't really that important but still needs a little bit more volume would be right here. This dent, you can see it right here. It is quite deep, so it needs some more volume to make it more like a head shape. It's not, you can't really see it if you look at a head. It's not that deep in a head. So what you need is just a little bit more muscles over here as well, that you can see right there, going from this dent right here to the middle of the head, or to the back of the head rather, and connecting to there. You also, the cheekbones don't really have any muscles on top of them. They just have, I guess, they're just muscles connected to the cheekbone. That's why you can see the cheekbone when you look at a person from the side, right there. That is basically the muscle. Of course, there's skin on top of it, but there's no muscle on top of, or bone. There's no muscle on top of the bone, which is why you can see the bone structure, for example, for the cheekbone. The same is almost, I guess you can say almost the same for this part right here, although there is a muscle going around the eye that is basically for eye movement, but this muscle doesn't really contribute to the volume of the face. The muscle that is really, I mean, only really for the mouth you need more, I guess, muscles to create more volume. For the eye sockets, of course, you have the eye right here, and then you have eyelashes, eyelids that kind of go around the eye, which we're gonna add later as well. But let's start with the bottom part of the mouth to add some more volume right here to fill this void right here. So let's go into the sculpting. There you go. I'm actually gonna use a new sculpt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and duplicate this. There you go. We're going to enable random colors. And then we're going to go in here and sculpt this. So. Ooh. So let's begin with the mouth. The mouth, oh, where's my reference? There you go. The mouth, as you can see, is in front of the teeth. So what we have to add first is some more volume in front of the teeth, basically just by going in here and adding like a small round circle over the teeth to kind of, envelop them. There you go. And then you also have muscles going from the mouth to the cheekbones. So the first one that you can see right here is this diagonal one that goes like this. And you can see immediately how it can fill the volume right there, like this. I'm going to enable dynamic topology. There you go. We also have a muscle going from here to here, of course, We have from here to here. And then to fill this hole, this big hole, we have another muscle that goes from the lower jaw to the cheekbone, which would be right here to right here. There is a hole right here when it comes to the muscles that you can see here as well, but that will be filled by fat pads basically. Or in general, just the skin lying on top of the muscles. The skin is quite stretchy, which means it's not going to just, kind of dig in there. If you, move your mouth and kind of feel with your tongue, you can see how thin this layer for your mouth is. So that there isn't really that much volume really that could cover this emptiness. So that we have the mouth basically done. One thing that we have to add as well would be not only muscles that can pull your mouth upwards and kind of like backwards, you also have muscles that go down. That would be for your basically connecting right here. You can see them. Oh, I can actually draw on here. Oh, of course. You can see them right there. Looking at the lips, they go down like this to pull your lips down. We haven't really added those yet, so let's add them now, which would be right here roughly. And then of course we have some very, very small muscles on top of the bone right here, like this as well. We're gonna add them because they are contributing to the volume, but not that much. There you go. So now that we have added the muscle structure, let's go to this region right here. We need to fill this void or this volume or this hole a little bit more. So we're going to just add some more volume right here. There you go. Kind of smooth this out some more. And yeah, now that we have the, I guess, holes filled, it immediately looks more like a human. Of course, it looks more like a human with, I guess, a like a mask. And of course, because he has no eyes, it doesn't really look like a human. It looks more like a skull right now because we need to add eyes. So let's add some eyes now. How do we add eyes? We're just going to grab UV spheres for now. Of course, our eyes aren't really just UV spheres. They're more like ovals. But there's just a small bump in the front of the eye where the iris is that we don't really need necessarily to visualize I guess the shape of the eye. So to the size of the eye in the face, the eyes are roughly, or the size of the eye is basically, if you put 5 eyes next to each other, that is the width of the head. So if we go in here and we use an array modifier, set it to 5, and then we go into orthographic view, we make sure that it's, in the middle of the head, and then we make it just big enough that we can fit these 5 eyes into the skull shape. Maybe a little bit smaller. There you go. Perfect. Now they all can fit in there. You can immediately see how these eyes are basically in the eye socket. Maybe we can make the eye socket a little bit bigger. So yeah, let's grab them and pull them forward. There you go. What I want to do now is I wanted to probably, let's apply this. Then I go in here and grab these 3, remove them. So we have these 2 eyes, because the eyes in general are roughly, the distance between the 2 eyes is roughly 1 eye. So right now we have the eye size. And we can probably pull them maybe a little bit closer together. What we can also do is we can maybe remove even this eye, so we can just apply a mirror modifier so we can still move this eye. There you go. Use a mirror modifier. Set this object as the mirror object so that we can move this eye still. We can bring it a little bit closer, just a little bit like this. There you go. We can also see that the teeth width aligns with the eye middle point, I guess. The teeth are as wide as the eye, or yeah, they're, if you line line up the teeth width with the eyes. The teeth width is basically in the middle of the eye. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you look at this, the teeth go as wide as the middle of the eye, right there. So we can probably pull this a little bit closer, like this. There you go. And also maybe a little bit higher to fit them into these sockets. There you go. Of course, we can also rotate them. So we have the iris in the front. This looks more like an iris. And then we need to place the eyes into the socket, which would mean, you know, they need to sit in this hole. So we need to pull them a little bit further in, more like this. There you go. Okay, they're quite deep, so we can place them right there. Okay, now that we've placed the eyes, let's create the muscles around the eyes, the eyelids basically. I'm gonna save this right now, just so I don't lose it. Facial anatomy. There you go. Facial anatomy, there you go, okay. Okay, let's create the eyelids. We're gonna go back to sculpting. Nope, not in this one. In this one, where we already have muscles. Let's envelop the bone or the eyes with muscles. So of course, you can see in this reference the muscles going around, or the eyelids basically covering the eyes. So now that we've placed the eyes, we have to put eyelids on top of the eyes. So the easiest way to do that was just to add more volume until we cover the eyes. I need dynamic topology. There you go. Look at that. What we could do now is we could, there you go. For example, what we could do is we could just use the crease brush to kind of create a like an opening, for example. We can make these open eyes. I guess we could do that. There you go. Including, of course, the iris. There you go. Perfect. Now we have included the eyes with or into the skull. We basically added the muscles that envelop the eyes and also included the eyes to create the eye shape, making sure that it's, you know, placed in the eye properly. There you go. So now that we have eyes, there's one more thing that we need, or two things basically, which would be the nose and also the forehead. The forehead is pretty simple. You can see it right here. You can also see the muscle going around the eyes, basically to you know, emote with your eyes a little bit more. They don't really contribute to the shape of the eye necessarily. Maybe over here a little bit more, you know, adding some more volume over here, but it's not too necessary, so we're going to leave those out. What we have though is a small little, you know, bulk in the middle right here, that kind of goes out like this. There you go. And then we have, I guess you could say, like these muscles as well. They don't really add more volume to the forehead, so we can leave it like this. Yeah, the most important part that is missing right now in terms of muscles would be the nose. So part of the nose, let's go into, I guess, the nose isn't really a muscle necessarily, but the nose is still, I guess, it's soft tissue. It's not really muscles, it's not really fat, it's like something in between, I guess. So let's add the nose now. How would you add the nose? The nose is basically just an extension of the bone structure. The bone structure, if you look at this face right here, you can see the bone ends right there, but comparing it to this one, you can see there's still more of the nose right here, which isn't part of the bone. So you have this soft tissue extending past the bone that basically creates the main part of the nose. So what we have to add, what we have to do is we have to add this extension to this, I guess, bone. The easiest way would be to just, I guess, mask this. There you go. inverting it and pulling it out. Oh, this looks scary. There you go. Bringing it more into a nose shape, smoothing it. And there we have the nose extension. We have the bone right there. See? And then we have the nose extension. But of course, this still doesn't really look like a nose. And that is because the nose is made out of multiple pieces. We're probably going to go, once we've kind of constructed the whole face, we're going to go into probably the nose, the eyes and the mouth in a little bit more into detail. Because you can go pretty deep with them. But the nose is basically constructed out of, you could say, or the bottom of the nose, the extension of the nose, the soft tissue is made out of, let's say, 3 pieces. We have the middle piece right here, like this piece. Then we have a nose tip piece that goes 2 pieces actually, is kind of mirrored, going like this, down. And then we have the nostrils on the side. So the only really thing that is missing right now would be the nostrils. So let's just add some more volume to the side right here. There you go. And this immediately looks more like a nose. Of course, if you wanted to detail this more, you could also kind of separate the piece right here in the middle. Oh, a new song from the playlist, the first one. There you go. So we have the middle piece of the nose. We're going to go deeper into that a little bit later. And then, of course, you have the nose holes as well. The nose holes are also kind of rotated ovals. You can see it right here as well. It doesn't really look like an oval right there. If you look at it from lower, you can see that the nose is basically at the bottom pretty wide and then goes pretty slim the closer you get to the top. So you have like this shape right here. Yeah, this is quite a low resolution. Let me see if I can actually sculpt it in. There you go. It gets slimmer the further you get to the tip. There you go. And that would be the nose. An extension of the bone. Now that we have that, the only really thing that is looking weird right now in terms of the muscle would be the lips. The lips are still part of the muscles. So let's add the lips now. You can see we don't really have any lips. We have the teeth underneath, where there are the teeth. But we don't have really any lips. It's just like this flat surface here. So let's add the lips now. The lips, of course, have 2 parts, the upper lip and the lower lip. So let's add both. The upper lip usually is further forward, looking from the profile view, than the lower lip. So let's add like an edge right here, creating a divide in the middle right there. Then adding the lower lip as well. Keeping in mind that the lower lip is, I guess, further back than the upper lip. We can pull this further back. There you go, maybe pull everything a little bit further forward. There you go. Make these lips a little bit more round. And there you go. We have a pretty rough, but still visible face. But that's not all that we need, of course. There's still more. Of course, you could maybe detail out this shape right here. You can see some muscles going up to the nose, you know, to kind of pull your nose up, for example, or your lips, or yeah, basically it not only pulls up the nostrils, but also the lips, like this. So that's one thing we could add as well. But that would be everything that covers the volume of the head. Or the skull. Comparing it to the previous one, that would be the skull, that would be the muscles. So that's the second layer of the face. Welcome back, Kojo. Hope you enjoyed your weekend, maybe even your Monday. We're going over the detailed, I guess, structure of the face. We've talked about the skull first. Now we're going over the muscle structure. This is the muscle structure that is lying on top of the skull, which would be the second layer that you would add to your character. If you sculpt a character, you would start with a skull, and then you would, you know, add some more volume by adding the muscles and the eyes as well. And now that we have the muscles and the eyes, there's one more thing that is missing, which would be, of course, the fat pads. The fat pads are very important to not only smooth out your face, you could see how veiny and how, I guess, rigid this face looks compared to a normal my face. For example, my face isn't like super crazy with these creases right there. Everything is soft basically. How do you achieve that? Not only because of the skin that is lying on top, but also because of the fat pads that lie on top of the muscles. The fat pads are basically there to store energy, and they're not only, you know, on the body, but also in the face. So we need to add those as well to make the face look even more natural. You could maybe say that we have, you know, some more muscles right here. There you go, that's probably better. You know, if you look angry, you would pull these closer together like this. There you go, now he looks angry. But yeah, there you go. So let's add some fat, and once you add the fat, that's when your face really comes together. You can see the eyes look very like bug-like. You can see these big holes right here, and everything looks kind of very rigid, very, I guess, creasy, very weird, like a dried fruit. So let's add the last layer of the face to finish the face. Are those the muscles? There you go. So we're going to duplicate this layer again, so we can go in here and add the fat pads as well. Let me grab a reference for the fat pads real quick. Where are they? Hold on. There you go. Is it this one? Nope. Hold on. Where's the... Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's begin with the fat pads. Gonna save this in my references real quick. Okay. So let's pull it up so we can go over the fat pads. This is for a female character. Females usually have more fat pads, just because the females in general have more fat because the body kind of prepares for, you know, I guess pregnancy. And for pregnancy, you know, I guess women need more energy, so the fat kind of, you know, saves energy so that they can use it while they're, you know, bearing. But that also means that female faces in general are smoother because the fat pads are a little bit fuller, I guess. So the male faces are more defined. We of course right now have a male face, but the deposits are still in the same spot. So we can still use this as reference for this character. You can see the development, the more fat, of course, you have, the fuller your face will be, and also the shape of the face will change. We're gonna go with this reference right here. I mean, we can also go with this one, but, you know, we may see the position of the fat pads better, but this is closer to what we want to sculpt here. So let's go over the most prominent fat pads that really shape the face and make it look like an actual human. So the first one would be right here, going from the nose, going from here basically, all the way down to here. This piece right here. That would be the first big sculpt, or the first big fat pad that really softens the face, and also basically is there when you can very easily see it when you smile. If you smile, you can see these cheeks right here. That is basically the fat pad that lies on top of your that is coming from your nose and goes all the way down to here, to the middle of the mouth corner. So let's add that. We're gonna just go in here, and add some more volume right here. There you go. It also creates this fold right here from, you know, between the nose. Between the nose. Oh, wrong brush. There you go. Between the nose and the mouth. This line going from here to the corner of the mouth. That would be this fat pad as well. There you go. Adding that, it already looks more natural, but of course that is not all that we have to add. We also have a fat pad that kind of covers this hole right here. So let's add that as well. There you go. We have to smooth it out a little bit. Wait, am I actually sculpting in 2 pieces? No, okay. It just looked like that. There you go. We have a fat pad kind of covering this piece, this hole. We have some more over here as well. There you go. You can see in general the face is kind of covered with fat pads, but there are a few that are very prominent when it comes to, I guess, that kind of affect the structure of the face. We have one right here in the front as well that kind of just, you know, enhances this round shape of the chin. And then we have one that I think is very important to make a character look more natural, and that is right in the corner of the mouth right here. This small little fat pad right here. I don't know why, but every time I add it, it just makes the character look more natural. You can see it right there, how it's placed right underneath this big one right here, and above the corner of the mouth. So if you add it right here, it would be right here. Pretty small, but still pretty significant in the, I guess, effect that it has. There you go. It adds this small little volume in the corner of the mouth, which will be more visible once we go into, I guess, the mouth shape. Yeah. So now that we've added the mouth, I guess, fat pads, there isn't really any more here, for example, underneath the nose. That basically stays the same. The next one that is very important is above the eye. If you look at the eye, you can see there's a small fat pad right here. You can't really see it there. But if you go to this one, you can see the difference between this fat pad and this one. It basically lies on top of the eyelid and creates this fold right here. The bigger or the more saggy, I guess, the eyelid is, I mean the fat pad is, the more you create this big crease right here between the eyelid and the fat pad. So if you wanted to add that to the face as well, we would go in here and basically connect it from this bone right here on top to the eyelid, covering the eyelid partially, adding it right here. There you go. Oh, dynamic topology, thank you. Right here. And then the fat pad not only covers the outer part of the head, or the eyelid, the upper eyelid, but it also goes in here into the corner of the eye in the middle. So you go from outside here into the middle right there, like this. There you go. Kind of filling this space and creating some volume right here. There you go. Perfect. And then there's one more that can be quite significant. If you have quite lean characters, it's probably not that significant, but it's still visible, especially for older people, or I guess more voluptuous people, which would be a fat pad right underneath the lower eye lid as well, which would be right here. There you go. Look, he immediately looks older. That is because of this one. This one doesn't really create a crease between this fat pad and the eyelid. It is just, I guess, there. It's pretty smooth. There you go. Okay. And those are the most important fat pads of the face. You can see the comparison. Of course, this is the face with fat pads. This is the face without. Only the bones, you know, very big creases, no, I guess, very bug-like ears. Removing this and the eyes as well. This is the bone structure, so the first layer. So we go from the bone structure, sculpting the bone first, then we go to adding the muscles and also the eyes. And then once we have that and we're kind of, you know, happy with the result, we go into the last layer, which would be the fat pads, to kind of round out, kind of fill the volume some more, fill these empty spots right here, especially in the mouth some more, to make this like an actual face. So now that we've kind of covered, I guess, the layering part of the sculpt, let's go over to the individual parts of the face that I wanted to highlight a little bit more. Kind of, I guess, going into more detail into the structure of the nose, the structure of the lips, and also the structure of the eyes. So what we can probably do, we can probably keep this actually. Yeah, let's work with this. So we probably don't need the other two sculpts. We only need this piece right here. The finished, I guess, face. It is very rough, but that's okay. I'm going to save that right there. Of course, if there are any questions ever, just put them in the chat. Okay, now that we've basically covered how the face is made up, going from the bone to the muscles to the fat, let's talk more about the structure of the face. With structure, or the structure of the individual aspects, let's start with the nose, because the nose is pretty, I guess, pretty simple. The nose is, or yeah, let's say the nose. The nose is pretty simple. Let's start with the nose. I'm going to add some more detail here. So I'm going to go to 50 so we can actually look at the structure of the nose. I actually want to start back here. So we talked about it before. The nose is made out of multiple parts. We have the bridge right here. Let's actually work with this. We don't need you anymore. There you go. So the first part of the nose we add right in the beginning when we create the skull, which would be the bony bridge, which would be right here. This is part of the bony part of the nose that is still visible once you have every layer added. What is that? So yeah, this is the bony part of the nose. There you go. That is still visible in your finished character sculpt. So that is why you create layers. You can make sure that the bony part of the nose looks good before you add the other parts of the nose. This way it's easier to focus on the individual parts and you don't get confused which part is basically which. Oh well, which part is the fat, which part is the bone, which part is the muscle. It is much easier to do that in individual layers. So now that we have the bony part of the nose, let's add the soft tissue. The soft tissue is in the front, of course, an extension of the nose. And it is made out of, let's say, yeah, first of all, the bridge that connects the tip of the nose with the, I guess, bone part of the nose, which should be right here. There you go, connecting these two pieces. Perfect. And then we have basically two more pieces, two more parts of the nose. The nose in general is basically, you could say, mirrored. So this side looks exactly like the other one. I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. Let's add the next piece, which would be the tip of the nose. The tip of the nose is basically made out of one piece, which is pretty simple. But you kind of have to, I guess, see it before you can really visualize it. Let's add a different color here. Let's add green. There you go. The tip of the nose is made out of two pieces, which are basically mirrored. We have these wings right here. These wings go from all the way, or, you know, split in the middle, then go from here upwards and go right around the bridge right here and have this shape. There you go. That is the next shape, I guess, for the nose. The tip of the nose. This is what makes up the tip of the nose. You have the bony bridge, you have the soft tissue bridge that you can even move it, you know, if you try it with your hand. And then you have the tip of the nose as well. This kind of bumpy, tip basically. That would be the third part of the nose. Of course, you have it on both sides, which is why I meant that it's mirrored, because it's basically the same shape on both sides. This wing shape going out like this. There you go. There you go. That would be the next part of the nose, the third part. And then there's one more, of course. Which one is missing? The nostrils. The nostrils are on the outside. The nostrils basically are, you know, some sort of fat or soft tissue, which is kind of tucked underneath this wing shape right here. Let's create another color right here. Let's set it to pink. There you go. The nostril basically goes from underneath here all the way around to here and back in. And there you go. That's how you can structure or simplify the nose structure. These annotation pencils are kind of scuffed, but once we sculpt it, hopefully it's getting a little bit easier. This is the, I guess, simplest way to, or the simplified way to look at a nose. We have the bony bridge at the top, which is unmovable, it's solid. Then we have the soft tissue bridge that is falling or extending the bony part of the nose that you can actually move. There's also an interesting aspect to this where the connection sometimes has a bump. Sometimes, for example, your nose might, the bone of the nose or the bone part of the nose might have a steeper angle or a shallower angle like this, which means to go lower again, the soft tissue part of the nose, which then have a steeper angle, which would be like this. So we have this bump in the middle. That's what creates this bump. The connection from the soft tissue part of the nose to the hard, I guess, bones part of the nose. You can see it in my nose right here, for example. You have the soft tissue right here. Then you have the connection to the bony part right here, where you have the small little bump. I don't know if you can really see it, but you've probably seen it in other people if you don't have it yourself. That's how that's created, by this angle being less or more horizontal, I guess. So now that we know the very, very basic structure of the nose, let's put it into practice. Let's go in here. First of all, I'm gonna hide this. There you go. And then we're gonna go into sculpting and detail this nose. I have 50 resolution. Let's begin. So let's start off with the bone part of the head. Of course, the bone part is basically there already. We could maybe, you know, give it some more detail here. Oh. Why do you always deactivate yourself? There you go. We have the bridge right here. We could maybe visualize it by kind of, you know, creating this small little bump right here. It ends right here. There you go. This is the bone part of the nose. And then we go over to the soft tissue part of the nose, which would be right here. There you go. Right there, connecting to the bone part, smoothing it. There you go. Of course, the shape of the nose can vary. Could be like this. Oh, well, could be like this. It could be more down like this. It's all depending on what kind of character you want to create. But this is basically the connection between the two pieces. You could, you know, smooth it out if you want to. I'm going to keep it separated so you can see it more easily. And then you have the two pieces for the tip of the nose, which would be right here. There you go. Going around like this, and then to the outside, and back in like this wing shape. There you go. Perfect. Now that we have that shape, smooth it a little bit because it's, you know, soft tissue. There you go. We have one more part of the nose that we haven't added yet, which would be the nostrils that kind of tuck underneath this wing shape right here. and go back to the face like this. There you go. We can maybe, you know, make this a little bit, pull this together. There you go. Using the crease brush to kind of make it more visible. This kind of, you know, space here would be filled by fat. And there you go. We have these two pieces in the middle that actually go a little bit deeper over here. There you go. And then you have the bridge as well, if you want to count that. It's basically just the connection from these two pieces to the base of the nose. Not really that spectacular. There you go. But the shape could be pretty interesting, I guess. If we remove the bottom part of the mouth. Hold on, let me grab my box remove thingy here. Zip. Look at the nose. You can see the shape right here. We have the, I guess, the connection at the bottom right here. Then we have these two pieces. Then we have the nostril. And that is what makes up the whole as well. You can see right here, this is the tip, this is the nose, and there's basically just like a gap between these two pieces, or between these pieces that makes up the whole. That's also why the whole has this oval shape like this. So now that we have the nose, we have the bridge right here, the soft bridge, we have the hard bridge. We basically structured the mouth. Let's show everything again. There you go. Let's get to the next piece. Let's go to the eyes. The eyes are pretty simple. Let's begin with those. Of course, hold on, I want to sit down. Okay, let's go and talk about the eyes. You can see right here, of course, the eyes or the eyelids are basically covering the eye, you know, the eyeballs with a corner right here and a corner on the outside. If you look at the muscles are basically shaped like two halves. It's kind of hard to explain. I could probably draw it better. So if you go back to layout, the muscle structure for the eyes is basically that the muscle around the eyes, you can see it right here, is basically just one muscle. It just connects on both sides. So if we go in here and add another layer, call this like, there you go. The muscle structure for the eyes is basically, you know, this opening in the middle, of course. Then it connects again on the outer corners. And then it basically connects to an inside part of the head, basically, or on the inside of the eye hole. So you have this shape like this. It kind of covers the eye. There you go. There you go. That's how the eye is shaped. Wait. So if we respect that for the eye, for the eyes, going back to sculpting. Let's first of all, I guess, detail the eyelids a little bit more. You can see it's pretty rough. So just using the crease brush to kind of make them a little bit sharper. The eyelids are actually quite sharp. I mean, quite thick. So don't make them too thin. They have quite a thickness to them. So this would be too thin, so just adding a little bit more volume over here. And then going back to the corner of the eye right there. There you go. Makes it look more like an eye. There you go. We can also see, smoothing this a little bit more. There would be some fat right here. So we're gonna put that in there as well. There you go. Just a little bit, not too much. This part of the eye is quite deep because there's not really anything. There's just the, you know, the muscle, kind of the muscles connecting right there. You have the fat pad above the eyelid, which we're going to cover in just a second, but there isn't really anything in there. So this part of the eye is quite deep, actually. Same goes for the corner of the eye. Corner of the eye is actually quite deep into the eye itself, or the skull. So this can be quite deep in there. There you go. Also, one important thing that you can actually keep in mind when it comes to the eye, I guess, you know, where to place the corner of the eye. In general, when you go from the outer corner of the eye, right here, all the way to the inner corner of the eye, it basically tells you the width of the eyeball. So if you go into X-ray mode, you can see the corner of the eye is right there. The inner corner of the eye is right there, which basically is the width of the eyeball. So not wider than this, maybe like this. This is too wide. This is also too wide. Only really, you know, as wide as the eyeball would be. We have this small little, you know, small little blip here in the middle for the eye. The inner eye corner right there. And that is the muscle part of the eyes. What I always wondered was, how do these two eyelids connect again? But then, of course, I discovered that, you know, at first I thought like, oh, well, these are two halves. This is one muscle and this is one muscle. And then they sort of somehow have to kind of cross paths, and kind of one has to lie on top of the other. So there should be like a stepping, I guess, there. But that is of course not the case, because the muscle for the eyelids is one muscle, which means it connects again right here, which means this part is basically just smooth like this. Smoothing it out like this. That is basically the outer corner of the eye. So now that we have the shape of the eye, what we can also respect is the bump in the front of the eye. The bump in the front of the eye basically means that it pokes out further. So if you have like a opening for the eye, and you have a bump that kind of, hold on, you have a bump that is protruding, you know, if this is the eye and then you have a small bump going forward, it would, if this would be the eye and you have this small bump, it would stretch the eyes out a little bit more. What I mean is basically that this small little bump, this small little protrusion in the front would push the eyelids further apart just by a very, very small amount like this. So that's one thing you can keep in mind. The outer part of the eye, I mean the part of the eye that is covering the iris, is basically the most open, you could say. There you go. So it would be like this. Like that. Maybe not that exaggerated, but it's still noticeable. Especially when you have like older people and the skin kind of sags more. It's more noticeable. Okay, now that we have the shape of the eye, let's go to the thing that shapes the eye as well, which would be the fat pads. We have two fat pads, of course, that we've discussed before. We have the one kind of covering the upper eyelid, which would be right here. Going all the way from the outside to the inner corner of the eye right there. Perfect. There you go. Really creating this crease between the fat and the eye. I guess you could say the eyelid. Creating this crease. There you go. And then you also have one at the bottom. There you go. So that's, I mean, you know, It's not really chubby, really, but you know, it's a good reference for fat pads. So that we have the upper the upper fat pad right there that kind of covers the eyelid. We have the upper eyelid. Let's go to the lower eyelid. The fat pad, of course, because the fat has weight, it gets pulled down. That is why there is a crease right there, because this fat pad actually falls down on top of this eyelid like this, which doesn't really happen for the lower eyelid. The lower eyelid fat pad pulls down as well, which means that it is actually quite smooth here. But what happens is you have this bunch, you have this bunching, or this is clumping at the bottom more. There you go, like this. It collects more at the bottom, which why you have these saggy eyes at the bottom right there. Smoothing this out right there. There you go. That's what you get. That's why you have saggy eyes, because of the fat pad underneath. There you go. And that is basically the eye. The eye isn't really that complex. It's basically just, the muscles going around the eye, and then the fat pad above and below. And that's how you structure your eyes. Pretty simple. So the next part would be the lips. The lips have a more interesting structure, you could say. So let's go to the lips. Let's begin, I guess, the lips in general. You can see have right here at the bottom, for example, have quite a sharp outline. So let's add the outline first. We can maybe even pull this a little bit further back like this. Keeping in mind that the mouth, well, actually no, let's keep it there. The mouth is further forward at the top than at the bottom. Let's add an outline first in this oval, I guess, shape with sharp edges like this. You have the top right here with this dip, and then it goes into the corner of the mouth, which is covered by this fat pad. We're going to talk about that in just a second. We're going to add the outline first. There you go. Smoothing it a little bit. There you go. So that would be the shape of the mouth. You have this dip right there. And then you have this oval shape for the lips. And then there are a few adjustments that we have to make. First of all, you can see the corner of the mouth isn't really just like a straight corner. There is a fat pad over the upper eyelid. I mean the upper lip. So the lip would basically go to the edge right there, but there's a small fat pad over the upper lip right here that covers it and creates this I guess volume at the corner of the corner of the mouth. You can see it in here as well. You can see this big fat pad right there. You can see it a little bit smaller over here. If we open up like a normal, I guess, person's face, we can maybe use this one. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Okay, well, that's a GIF. That's not really what I wanted. Actually, you can see it. Let me see if I can... Does that work? Nope, it doesn't. Okay. I should have... Oh, there you go. Perfect. You can see it right here. You see the mouth right there, or the lips, but then you have this fat pad over the lips, or the corner of the lip, that kind of cover the corner. You can also see it right here. The corner of the mouth is a little bit more complex than just, this fat pad covering it, but it adds a little bit of a volume right here, which is important to make a character look realistic. So we're going to add that there as well. You can see it right here. Basically this part right here. We also have like the small indent right here. There you go. Perfect. Next part would be the lower lip. The lower lip is smoother on these edges right here, or on at the corner of the mouth, just because it kind of transitions to a muscle. You can see the muscle right here. The muscle goes basically from the lower lip to the corner of the mouth, or the corner of the jaw, to kind of pull it back like this, which means, because it is so close to the surface, it kind of smoothes the structure of the lip. So you have a pretty strong outline on the bottom part of the lip, but then the closer you get to the corner of the mouth, it kind of smooths out some more, like this. And you have some more of that muscle showing over here. There you go. You can see it for females, it's not as strong. For males, it's a little bit stronger. And then it goes pretty far into the middle like this, which kind of also enhances the jaw shape like this. There you go, by having this muscle right here. So let's kind of highlight these pieces a little bit better. There you go. We have the fat pad right there. Then we have the lips, and we have the muscle right there. We have the what is it? the chin. Now we still need to create volume for the lips. If you look at it from the side, you can see the lips are quite straight. But if you look at lips, you know, for real people, they have a certain amount of volume that kind of creates this curve, this outside curve, this not concave, but the other one, this outside curve for the lips, for both lips actually. So there's some volume that kind of pushes out. For the upper lip, we have 3 volumes, you could say, 3 pieces. For the lower lip, we have 2. What I want to do here is I want to grab the lower part of the mouth and just pull it apart, because I want it to actually go into the mouth later. So I'm just going to grab this and pull it apart. There you go. Okay, we're going to invert this, going to grab this, pull it down like this, just opening his mouth just a little bit. Perfect. So we can actually look at his open mouth. There you go, kind of connecting the 2 upper and lower lip again. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have the mouth open, we can look more at the volume of the lips, and also where the lips actually go at the corner of the corner of the mouth. The corner of the mouth is actually quite interesting, especially for the structure of the lips, because, you know, do the lips just end at the corner, or what do? They actually have quite an interesting structure to them. So let's begin by creating the volume for the lips. You can see, as I said before, the upper lip has 3 parts that adds to the volume of the lips. The lower lip has 2. You can see the pieces in this piece, basically. We can see it right here. We have, for the upper lip, we have 1 in the middle and then 2 on the outside. For the lower lip, we basically just have 2 next to each other. If we want to add that to the lips right here for the sculpt, we would have like 1 right here, and then we would have 2 pieces on the side. For the lower lip, we would have these 2 balls right here. There you go. That would be the structure of the lips, which would mean if we add some more volume here, we would do it like this to create the middle piece right there, create this outward curve, and then we have these volumes right here like this. There you go. That is the volume of the upper lip. We can of course smooth it to make it look more natural, but I actually wanted to separate it, you know, to make it more visible. There you go. Let's go to the lower lip. As I said before, the lower lip is quite simple. We basically have just like 2 volumes right here. There you go. Looking at it from the side, you can see looks way more like lips now. Perfect. Smooth it. There you go. Maybe we could pull this out a little bit more. There you go. What if we add the teeth back in? Okay, well that doesn't really work. Oh. Okay, so now that we have the lips, there's one interesting fact about the lips that is very important when it comes to how you structure the how you create the structure of the lips. You now know that you have 3 pieces right here. You know, we have this piece right here, and then we have these 2 pieces, and then we have these 2 at the bottom. But there's one important fact that you have to keep in mind to, I guess, perfect the structure of the lips, and that is basically that the lips are basically just the skin in the inside of the mouth, but turned inside out. I can probably show it better by showing you the flow of the lips. They basically turn back to the inside of the mouth at the corner of the mouth. So by detailing this a little bit more, of course, the lips would kind of wrap around the teeth like this. You would have like teeth right here, you know. We don't need teeth right here, so I'm going to remove them. Remove this volume. There you go. So those would be the lips. There you go. And then what the lips do basically is they... Let's begin by doing it with the upper lip. You have this volume right here, of course. Like this. This would be the upper lip. But then what does it do in the corner of the mouth? It basically turns around. It basically, hold on. It basically, you know, if it's like this, it turns around. So what I mean is if we go from the outer corner right here, we basically have 2 corners. We have the inner corner and the outer corner. The outer corner basically goes from here, like this. The inner corner goes from down here to this. So if we maybe kind of make this more straight here, smoother, there you go. What basically happens is that the skin twists and goes back into the mouth. So if we were to visualize it again, we would have the upper lip right here, like this. And then it turns back into the skin of the mouth, like this. So to visualize it better, I can basically just, hold on, inverse. There you go. That's what it does. It's quite hard to really explain, but I think this is the best way I can show it to you. You have the skin for the lips being like this, but then when you go to the corner of the mouth, it basically makes like a 180-degree turn and goes into the inside of the mouth, which is also why you have this shape for the mouth, basically. Yeah, it's hard to really explain, but if you look at mouths a little bit more, you can really see the flow in every single, I guess, lip. You can see the same for the bottom lip as well. You have the beginning right here, you know, and then it goes into the corner of the mouth and then turns around like this, like a street, you know, going from this and then like this, making it, you know, separating it again, make it maybe more visible. There you go. Oh. There you go. You can see how it turns around. This face is basically, you know, looking at you, facing you, but then the more you turn around, it is facing away from you. it creates this twist. I think I've explained it enough. Hopefully it's understandable. Yeah, that is a very important part of the lip that you kind of have to, I guess, see, or kind of, you know, somebody told me this weird fact, and since then, you know, my lips look way better. So hopefully this actually helps you as well. There you go. You can see it also in here, like the flow lines go kind of in and then rotate in there. Which is also why the corner is so, you know, so straight. They don't really just connect the two pieces, the upper lip and the lower lip. They just kind of twist around and they continue into the mouth. There you go. And that is basically the most important pieces of the face. Of course, if you wanted to, we could kind of detail the structure a little bit more. Maybe we could, you know, kind of make the fat pads a little bit more visible or more detailed, like here. There you go. We have the cheekbone right here. Like this. Going back. We of course have the muscles for the forehead going up like this. We also have muscles going like this. We have, of course, fat pads on top of the muscles that go like this. Yeah, let's add some fat over here. There you go. We also have some fat down here, which isn't really that visible, but it can change a face slightly. There you go. This looks kind of weird. Okay. Whenever I model lips, I feel that the upper lip overlaps the lower lip. Yeah, exactly. That is... that's why I wanted to kind of, you know, show the structure of the corner. It's not just... Or it's not that the lip basically... You know, you have the upper lip and then you have the lower lip. And then the lower lip just kind of goes into the face, and then you have the other one kind of overlapping it. That, you know, like a fish mouth. It's not really a fish mouth. It is more that they still stay next to each other, but they turn around so that they can go into the mouth. So hopefully this can visualize it a little bit better. There you go. And then you can maybe even visualize what expressions would do to this face. Hold on, I'm gonna, you know, now that we have everything very detailed, everything sectioned, what happens if we smooth it? Let's see in a second. Hold on, I'm just gonna smooth everything out a little bit more. Okay, let's see what happens if we smooth it. Let's use the smooth brush. Hold on, where's my smooth brush? There it is. Smooth. Oh, doesn't really do anything. Why? Strength 10. Woo! And of course, the more you add, the more the smoother it gets. But yeah, that is basically the structure of the head. Now, basically, just kind of smoothing everything a little bit more. We'll make this look more natural. There you go. And that is how you create the face. A little bit more in depth today than yesterday. I mean, than last time. Hopefully this helped in, I guess, making the structure of the face a little bit more understandable. Yeah. I think especially the lips are quite complex or quite weird if you're just starting off, especially, you know, the corner. But yeah, hopefully I was able to visualize it as good as possible. Yeah. If there are any more questions, of course, you can ask them whenever. Otherwise, that would be everything. Of course, you also have the ears. The ears, you know, originate from back here where the jaw basically connects to the upper part of the head right there. The ears, yeah. I mean, we could probably talk about the ears. Let's talk about the ears. Yeah, the nose can be quite tricky as well. But I think once you kind of know the structure, it gets quite simple. Once you know this structure right here, it gets quite simple in its. At least you don't really have to kind of think about it anymore, how you have to sculpt it. You just kind of separate it into these pieces, and then you sculpt it, you smooth everything, and it kind of looks like a nose. Let's go to the ears. So the ears, of course, connect to the head where the jaw basically connects to the upper part of the head, like over here. Also, the nose is basically, the nose is basically as long as the ears, and they also are basically in the same position, which means if we go in here and follow that rule, that would mean that the ears would begin at the bottom of the nose right here, and then go all the way up to the end of the nose, which would be roughly over here. That would be where the ears are placed. The ears, of course, have this, you know, this oval shape, at least in the back, like this. So let's add that as well. There you go. That would be where the ears are placed. Let's go and add the ears to this sculpt by basically just going in here and using, for example, the snake hook, pulling it out like this. And then, of course, you have the usual ear shape. The ear shape can be simplified into two simple shapes. Let's talk about them before we sculpt it. Let me just grab a ear image. There you go. Ear, ear, ear. Okay. So the ear is actually pretty simple. It looks quite complex if you look at it. What? Permission denied. Okay. Oh, because it's a folder. There you go. So yeah, the ear structure can be quite weird, but it can be basically broken down into two letters, you could say. You could either say it's an O and a Y, or it's a C and a Y. I like the C approach more, which would be you have the big C on the outside, like this. And then you have the Y on the inside, like this. And that is basically how you can make ears. Oh, yeah. I'm glad that it helped you. Yeah, we're gonna animate more tomorrow. So if you have any more questions, you can ask them then. I mean, you can ask them now as well, but today is more about anatomy. Tomorrow we're gonna continue and probably create the climbing animation. So yeah, if you wanted to simplify the ear, you can basically make it, or you can simplify it as a C shape and a Y shape. The Y being smaller and inside of the C, and the C being the outer, basically, shape. So if we convert that into the, let's actually keep that here. There you go. And create another one with a different color. There you go. Basically, Y and see. We can go in here and basically create that in here as well. So we're going to create the C first, keeping the ear pretty close to the head. There you go. So that's the C shape. Perfect. Maybe we can give it some more thickness here, keeping in mind that this is quite thin, so enabling front faces only keeps it from affecting the other side as well. I can show you what it does if you remove front faces only. If you do it now, you can see, oh, you affect the other side of the surface as well, because the brush is basically three-dimensional. It's a sphere instead of a circle. So it not only affects this side, but of course the other side as well. Which means that if we enable front faces only, it only affects the faces that actually we can see, basically, that face us. Which does this. So now we can kind of create some more volume here. There you go. This will be the C shape, as you can see right here. Maybe add some more volume to the earlobe. Perfect. Okay. Sometimes people don't really have an earlobe, or they still have it, but it's kind of connected deeper. Sometimes it goes higher. So this is the C shape. These are quite big eyes, so ears. So we're gonna make them a little bit smaller. You can keep in mind the ears start at the bottom of the nose and end at the top of the nose. So we can make them a little bit smaller. Perfect. So this is the C shape right here. C. There you go. Oh, not going too deep. There you go. That is the C shape. And then you also have the Y shape in the middle. The Y shape would be right here. There you go. That is the Y shape, giving it some more volume here. And then also keeping in mind that the C at the end goes into the ear. So we have to go from the top into the ear like this. There you go, and that creates basically the ear shape. We also have the small little protrusion here, the small little thingy right there. And then of course we have the hole right there in the middle, or at the bottom, that then connects to the skull, to the inside of the head. There you go. And that is the ear shape. Very, very simplified. Giving it some more detail here. There you go. Then we have the Y in the middle. There you go. Perfect. And that's the ear. Of course, it's not that defined, I guess. You could smooth it out some more and kind of play with the shapes a little bit more. But that is the most basic shape of the ear. Pretty simple, pretty easy once you know it. You can do the same with the topology of the ear if you want to retopologize it. It's basically also just like a Y and a C. So yeah, if you want to keep that in mind for that as well, you can use it there as well. There you go. And that is how you create an ear. Pretty simple, pretty quick. Yeah. That is basically the whole face. The structure of the face. We can maybe pull this further back if you want to, but we don't need to. We finished the face. And now we can see all layers in one. We have the muscle, or we have the bone layer for the cheekbones right here. This is the bone layer. We have the same over here as well. That's the bone layer. Then we have the muscle layer, for example, for the lips right here. The lips are muscles, of course, right here. And then we also have the third layer, which would be the fat pads that lie on top of the muscles. There you go. And that all makes up the face. There you go. Yeah, and that's how you create a face. Look at him. Maybe this is quite deep. This could probably be a little bit smoother here. There you go. But oh yeah, that's also one thing you can kind of keep in mind. The eyebrows follow this flow right here. You can see this right here. You know, you can follow this as well with your eyebrows. You can go right here to the side and then down. And now you have some eyebrows. There you go. Maybe we could make these a little bit wider. There you go. But that's the face. Yeah, the CY trick is actually pretty helpful. It helped me quite a lot when retopologizing the ears, and then afterwards it helped me also to sculpt the ears. So yeah, that's how it's done. And of course, you know, now that you kind of know the different layers of the face, it only comes down to kind of varying the proportions in the face to kind of create different characters. So for example, you can make the lips bigger, you can make the eyes smaller, you could give him more fat. So if you go in here and kind of, you know, add some more fat over here, we can make him look more, I guess, yeah, fat, giving him some more here, also here. You know, kind of just adding more volume makes him look more obese just by adding more fat pads, because, you know, obesity comes from, I guess, bigger fat pads and, you know, more fat in the body itself. So adding some more to the face will make him look more I guess, you know, fatter. There you go. Smoothing it, of course, because fat pads are quite smooth. There you go. And that is how you create a face. Do you mean Eddie Murphy? Or do you mean Charlie Murphy? If so, I don't think I know Charlie Murphy. Okay, yep. And that is how you create the face. I think, so the plan was to do a skin shader as well, but I think I'm gonna skip that. Probably gonna, yeah, I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna end it here. If there are any more questions, you can, you know, write them not now or put them in the comments later. But that is how you create the face, going from the bones to the muscles, and then to the face. I mean, the fat pad, the fat, yeah. And that basically makes up the whole character. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's the first sculpt. There you go. Yep. Yeah, and that's how you create a face. Pretty simple. Once you go through it, I think. Or you just, you know, depends on, you know, I guess, I can't speak anymore. Yeah, just practice a little bit and kind of observing it on faces. So, yeah. So, yeah, I actually thought about Discord, and I'm probably gonna make a video announcing the plan is to announce a video. I mean, the plan is to announce a server next week, hopefully. I'll spend some time figuring everything out, because I really want to go into, you know, I always, you know, talk about how you can do it, how you create characters, but then there's no way for you to get feedback. And I really want, I think feedback is, you know, feedback is the most valuable way to learn. You do something and then you get to know what you can do better next time, so that you can deliberately improve what you are bad at, or less negatively, what you can still improve on. So I want to have like a, you know, some sort of way, probably Discord, to share your results, maybe after the stream. Maybe you follow what I do and then you can post what you've done, or what you've, you know, you've followed what I've done here on stream, what we've covered on stream, that we can maybe talk about the results the next day, to give the people more feedback, and also maybe, you know, and I guess expand on what we've done the previous day, to kind of, you know, go over maybe a few mistakes or stuff that can happen that kind of, you know, can be improved. So yeah, I'm probably gonna figure that out until next week, so that we can go even deeper into I guess, yeah, into the matter. Yeah, so I'll put that on my agenda, and there's probably gonna be a video next week announcing it. So stay tuned. This week we're gonna go over a few more topics, or maybe, yeah, one more topic. Yeah, we have 2 days for animations, because I want to get it done at some point, and then we have 2 days, the first day, to kind of learn more about I guess Blender. This was about facial anatomy, facial construction, the structure of the face. Then afterwards, tomorrow we're going to go into continuing the animation that we've basically worked on last week. We're going to probably do the climbing animation tomorrow. Probably even also him trying to push the lever from the bottom. And then on Thursday, we're going to go into particle simulation, hair particle fur creation, creating a character with fur that will reuse hair particles to create the fur. Kind of like an experiment to see how it works compared to basically hair creation. And then afterwards we're going to go into, last day would be animations as well. I really want to get this done at some point, because then I wanted to just kind of get this done at some point. It's a long awaited project that I want to finish. So that's going to be 2 days of the week, so tomorrow and on Thursday. I mean, he probably has stuff to do or whatever. I don't expect anybody to come here. If you join, I appreciate it. If you don't, then of course I respect it. All I can do is provide some sort of value, and if you think the value is good enough, then I appreciate you joining the stream. So I'm gonna think about Discord. Probably gonna set it up throughout the weekend, so I can post a video on what is it, on Monday probably. There's another video that came out on my videos channel today. Hopefully it came out, probably. Going over how to create unique characters, especially for stylized characters, because stylized characters have less detail, which means you can customize less in the face to make a character look unique. We covered that last week, Was it last week? Or was it the week before? No, 2 weeks ago. We covered it 2 weeks ago. If you want to look into that again, going over, you know, how you can make your characters look unique, or maybe even how you can create your own art style for your characters. Yeah, feel free to check that out as well if that's interesting to you. Thank you for joining. Hope this was helpful. You can, of course, once the Discord is up, post your results there. Yeah. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. The what? I'm confused today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for chatting. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Maybe I'll see you next time. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Take care. Until next time. Yeah, it sort of looks like, oh no, it's over already. Yep. Yeah. Have a great day, and wish you all the best. Take care, and yeah. Bye bye.